Sunday Morning Coffee with Keto Simple. My name is Dustin. I'm so glad you're here. This stream will be starting soon, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and settle in. We're building a strong and supportive community, so say hello in the chat, ask questions, and feel free to use super chats if there's anything that you want to see highlighted. Thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. Let's keep it positive and respectful as we connect and grow together. I can't wait to get started. Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday Morning Coffee, June the 8th. June is officially Triple B&E month, transition month for us here. It is the 8th day of Triple B&E, and we'll get into a further explanation of how things are going with that here in a little bit. But this is the busiest birthday month for us. Chandra just had her birthday on Friday. Our daughter's is coming up on the 12th, and mine is the 25th. Celebrate if you have a June birthday. Shout it out. Let's wish everybody in June a happy birthday. Oh, we knew there would be challenges for birthdays, and like I said, we'll get into that in just a minute. We knew there would be moments that test us. I mean, we had planned for this. This is not new. This isn't things that we weren't surprised. They were part of the plan. So, with that all being said, I want to jump in and I want to say hi to you beautiful, beautiful people here with me today. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Evelyn is in the house. Good morning, Evelyn. She sent this about a half an hour ago. She says, good morning, friends. Welcome. How is your week going? Any wins that we can rejoice with you? Any struggles that we can help you with and encourage you? Let us know. We are here for you. And I've pinned this to the top because this is important for all of us. This is important for all of us because that's what we're here for on Sundays, to hang out, have a good time, but also make sure we're helping each other. So with that, it looks like Rick is in the house, Mr. Quack Quack himself, Mr. Shuckadacky Quack Quack. He says, good morning from Miami. He's going to be in Michigan soon. If that's what you're going to be in Mitch. We'll be with Mitch soon. Oh, okay. He's going to be with Mitch on his channel, it looks like. So maybe already over there. This was 27 minutes ago. So I'm not sure I know who Mitch is, but Mitch is a person that people seem to enjoy spending time with as well. John, Mr. Gugahan is here this morning. Good morning to all you wonderful Sunday morning coffee folks. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Gugahan. Tanya says, Sunday morning coffee with Dustin. Why am I singing it? Well, you put music notes in there. What is a person supposed to do? You know what? We're not heathens. We're not heathens, Tanya. I'm sorry, Tanya. Tanya likes Tanya. I'm guessing that's how she wants her name pronounced. I want to make sure I'm doing what people want. That's how we do it here. Brian is in the house. Good morning, everyone, he says. Mr. Dish saying hello to Evelyn. Cindy is in the house. Good morning, everyone. I'm on time today. What? Oh, my goodness gracious. John is telling us what happened his week this week. He says, good morning, Evelyn. I had a great week. Rode my new bike 35 miles on Monday. Rode it to work, 17 miles round trip on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Transitioned off the sugar diet this week. Tell us, spill the coffee. How did it go? What were your results? What were your findings? Is it something that you would, obviously you're not going to continue doing it. You said you stopped doing it. But what was your overall experience? Because I have friends starting it tomorrow. So I'm curious. And Nick Norwitz did release a new video. It is a very intense, thick video with science and words and And I'm like, what was happening? You know what I mean? He's in there. He just graduated from Harvard as a PhD, or no, an MD from he got his PhD from Oxford, and he just got his MD from Harvard. So Nick Norwitz should know what he's saying. So he just put a video out about that. Sandy Blythe is saying, good morning from Florida. I'm glad to see your smiling face. Andy, too. Good morning, Andy. She says, good morning, everybody. And Susan, too. The sultry sounds of Sunday morning coffee, Susan. Wake up to go back to sleep. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I don't know what's happening. You guys tell me what's happening. Maritza's in the house. Good morning, Maritza. I'm so glad you're here. Good to see your bright and smiley face. And this is a bright and smiley face that I love to see. Mr. Carl. Coral is in the house. He's excited for John Gugahan's bike riding capabilities going the distance. He's going for speed. Oh, he's all alone in his time of anyway. Cindy says, I saw in your comment on RSK about doing the sugar diet. How was that for you? Yes, inquiring minds want to know. And I saw your comment over there on the RSK as well. But before we get to that, I need to stop and pause and say, it's time for some coffee. I haven't had any yet. I make it early. It's been sitting in this cup for a while because I want to make sure that I have my first sip with you guys. Still so hot. Oh, but delicious. And I got some salty here just in case. Some salty. Throw out flavors. What you think this flavor might be? I bet you get it wrong. Anyway, John says, I had all the delicious foods again, like ribeye, hamburger, butter, gained a couple of pounds, but I expected that and I'm okay with it. The thing is I think we put too much emphasis on the scale. And we talk about this from time to time, but I think it's worth revisiting. In the grand scheme of things, we're going to fluctuate. I fasted and gained 4 or 5 pounds in a day after only having water. So the thing is you're going to fluctuate probably. I would say on the average month to month basis, we're probably averaging a pound a day, 2 pounds a day. Sometimes over a course of a week, 10 pounds, up 10 pounds, down 10 pounds. And that's why I think that when we are weighing ourselves, we should be looking at trends and not, well, I'm up a quarter pound today. I must have did something wrong yesterday. I've gained a pound this week. I must have just completely messed up. What did I do wrong? But we can't look at it that way because the human body isn't always going down and it's not always going up. It's going to fluctuate. And it's not good for our mental health, our overall joy in life, worrying about a quarter pound, a pound, 2 pounds, whatever, up and down throughout the week. We should be looking at trends. If this week you're up a pound, the next week you're up a pound, the next week you're up 2 pounds, but it's always trending up, then you want to start looking at what's going on. But we're always happy when it's trending down. But even when it's trending down, we get into the mindset, it's not trending down fast enough. What am I doing wrong? I'm not losing weight fast enough. So we should be looking at trends. As long as things are trending in the right direction or sort of in a homeostasis, we're kind of staying in the same spot. But over the course of time, we should look at what's going on. We should look at what we're doing. But I think if you weigh yourself every day, I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment because you're not going to lose every day and you're not going to gain every day. You're going to gain some, you're going to lose some. And I know that that's not what he was talking about here with this comment, but I just always want to make sure that when I start to see these things, and it'll kind of click in my head a little bit. And I just want to make sure that all of you know that the sum of your value isn't predicated on the number on the scale. You are worth everything. The scale is mainly how much you are impacted by gravity. And if realistically you've been out riding your bike like a crazy person, John, riding 30 miles, whatever it was, that's going to cause your body to do things and going to maybe retain water because you're like, oh, what are we doing? We haven't done this in a while. What's happening here? And then you're going to go up a little bit. That's fine. And I know that's not what you were concerned about, but it's just one of those things I just wanted to talk about while we were here, why we were there. Maritza's daughter just had her birthday. Well, happy birthday to your daughter. I hope it was a wonderful, joyous occasion. And I hope that you got a chance to spend time with her. If not, at least a phone call, a Skype, or a FaceTime or something. John says, sugar fasting today and tomorrow and back to ketovore the rest of the week. Okay, so that sounds cool. Brian Doyle is in the house. Good morning, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Yes. Yes. There's Sean. There's my buddy Sean. How are you doing, sir? How was your first week at the new job? How's Shell? Hope everyone's doing fantastic. I hope you're doing well, too. I hope the new job is everything you hoped and imagined and dreamed it would be. Did you get to color and play with stickers? What's going on? Okay, Mitch, old guy, carnivore. Okay, all right. And John said, praise God, my cravings for alcohol are still zero. I don't even think about it, and that's a miracle. Fantastic. That's what we want to hear. Yes. I'm stoked for you, John. Truly, excuse me, from the bottom of my heart. I mean, that's, we've talked about that at depth, like I've grown up around alcoholics, and it's just one of those things. Like my brother's like 5.5 years clean, and it's just a joyous thing to know that you are doing what's best for you. I'm have a drink of this right here. Again, throw out some guesses. What flavor salty do you think this is? And I bet you get it wrong. Tastes like summer. Okay, you like Tanya. Okay, like I know that, but then I talk a lot and I will mess it up again, I'm sure. So my apologies in advance. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Susan's still sleeping, yeah. Susan's still sleeping. Susan's still sleeping. She's snoozing under the blankie. Anyway, sorry about that. That was a mistake. Anyway. Brian says 1 month on GLP-1. Let's see, completed 6 pounds down, no side effects, and blood glucose way down. Fantastic. I did make an Ozempic video this week, a short. For some reason, it's kind of like very, very slow to move. It's only got like 100 views, I think. For shorts, that's kind of weird. It's got 134 views, average percentage viewed 195.8% and 9 likes. But I had the idea yesterday. I threw it together relatively quickly. I've kind of got my shorts down to a science, especially, my faceless shorts where my face is not in them. But yeah, if you get a chance, go by and take a look at that short. I'd appreciate it. Maybe the views will start to kick off a little bit because in 21 hours and 49 minutes, it's got 134 views. And for shorts, it should have thousands of views. I've never had a short go truly viral. My biggest short to date, and I'll pull it up here. Now, you guys won't be able to see it, but is my TikTok Cool Whip pudding trend with 137,719 views. Then my heavy cream coffee video, which is just like me pouring heavy cream into my coffee cup, that's got 40,000 views. And a keto chocolate pudding, carnivore boiled eggs one is like 17,000 views. Yeah. The perfect breakfast has got almost 11,000 views. But I mean, that's pretty cool. But shorts to make shorts to get anywhere with them to get traction, they need millions of views. For any of you with the channel, to get monetized utilizing shorts, you have to have 10 million views in 90 days. That's pretty crazy. Pretty insane. Maritza's not feeling well this morning, been nauseous since like 1 a.m. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that, dear. I'm very sorry. I hope you feel better. Sipping on club soda, she says. Well, I raise my glass to you and I hope you feel better, dear. Oh, coffee is so delicious. Rick, the other Rick, the twin Rick, Twin Brook Acres is in the house. Good morning, watching from my hotel room. 50th high school reunion. I didn't go to any of my high school reunions, and I think we've already had I graduated in 1998. So 1998, the 10-year was in 2008. 2018 was 20. Yeah, so we're coming up on my 30th year anniversary, my 30th here soon. So maybe I'll go to the 30th. We'll see how that goes. We'll see. I never really liked the kids at school. I was not a very popular kid in school. It's funny though, because you will inadvertently, especially with social media and nostalgia being a thing, you will usually have a bunch of people who will start to friend you from high school, and the ones that weren't always necessarily nice to you or even really acknowledged your existence. And it's one of those things that's high school. We're teenagers. We're trying to figure things out. We are, not doing a good job of being good people most of the time. We're just trying to get through, and we're all awkward. We all feel inadequate, and we're all trying to hide that fact. So, but yeah, I've never really looked back and been like, you know what? I wanted to go and hang out with all those people that I didn't really get to know in high school. That's just kind of how I looked at it. Maybe I'll go on my 30th. We'll see how that goes. Maybe if there's a 25th anniversary. I don't know if I've already missed that or not. I don't even know. I don't know. God, like 2 years ago, they got together and went to a baseball game. I don't know. John is saying, Dustin, I ended up losing 7.2 pounds the 2 weeks I tried the sugar diet. I did have some GI side effects, like stomach pain and bouts of diarrhea, which that is totally understandable, because you are completely changing your gut biome. So that's the same thing going from vegetarian to meat heavy, or even going regular keto to carnivore. You're going to have those bouts of stomach pain and diarrhea and, gastric distress. And then you figure you're putting a lot of that fiber and sugar and stuff back into your body, because anything your gut biome has to readapt to is going to cause some of those GI issues. So yeah, that's just one of those things. Shelly, sorry, I can't talk or read today. Sherry's in the house. Good morning, awesome tribe, she says, because I see that she has the little keyboard there, so she was musically inclined too. Maritza is saying clean slate, salty. No, I'm not too concerned about that when I'm doing the triple B&E. I don't have a lot of clean slate, so I have a bunch of Mondo Melon. We've got blue slushy. We've got grapefruit. What else do we got? I got red cherry chill. And we've got liquid IV. And I've got perfect keto. I've got Redmond's. I've got a whole plethora of electrolytes to choose from on a daily basis. So I'm not too concerned about a little stevia in this, because it doesn't really bother me all that much. It doesn't really impact my satiety or anything like that, so it don't really bother me. But it is not clean slate. And it's not a salty cup today. It's a GNC, because I went on a kick where I went and bought I had 25 blender bottles, because I would buy them when they were complete at Goodwill. for like $2 instead of spending $6, $8, $10 on them or however much they cost. I have a bunch of perfect keto ones too, but you know. Tanya says, down 2 pounds today, feeling lighter. You know how it goes. Rick says, after my live with Mitch, I'll go down to the Sleepy Lizard Avocado Farm for his mango get together. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Andy said, I made a revelation about possible reason that I'm not losing weight the past 18 months. At Dr. Barry's advice, I switched my thyroid meds from Lavoxarine to Armor Thyroid. I'm switching. Okay, I'm switching back. Okay. All right. Gained 18 pounds. Oh, goodness. Rick says, I want to gain mass, not lose it. It's because you're all lanky. John says, I plan to use the sugar fast maybe once or twice a week. I must admit, I am concerned about glycation and the fructose effects of my liver. I don't know. That'd be a perfect question to ask, like Dr. Barry. I think that's a great question about that. I know what he's going to say. You probably shouldn't be doing the sugar fast first and foremost, but then if you get him to answer the glycation issues, I would be curious to see what he'd say. Rick said, every duck I caught, I wanted to gain weight as well, so you can catch them skinny ducks. Switching back to Levo and seeing if that's the problem. Okay, N equals 1, 100%. And Evelyn is saying that I'm glad the sugar diet helped you to transition. Yeah, 100%. I think if you can utilize and leverage something to help you get where you want to be, then I like I said, even from the very beginning, I don't have issues or problems with anybody trying the sugar diet, as long as you understand what to look out for and you understand yourself. Like I know me and I know candy and sweets and all that. It would be a road that I would go down that it would not be I wouldn't come back very easily, I don't think. Maybe I would surprise myself, but I worry about that because I can just sit there and imagine me eating like the gigantic family bags, the big bulk bags of candy, and just sit there and just be colored teeth and just it would be not a good thing. I'm like a gremlin after midnight. Oh my goodness. And Andy says my thyroid condition halts my weight progress. I know that for sure. Yeah, 100%. There's Stacy, my dear. She says, good morning to my lovely Sunday morning friends. I love it. I'm glad to see you and Ken. Sandy is here. Sandy is here. Cindy is here. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce Cindy correctly, but Cindy, if you were to eat the fruit, sugar, and no protein, I would be in such a state of hypoglycemia. Yeah. I would be. Yeah, that's what she said. Sean says, the first week was fantastic. I got to play with a different 3D modeling software. I'm still getting paid to doodle on a computer all day. Fantastic. I love it. It is not Mondo Melon. I can't tell you what flavor it is. I mean, that probably is a dead giveaway right there. But anyway, yeah. Duck flavor, rabbit flavor, duck flavor, rabbit flavor. Blue slushies. No, it is the mystery flavor. And I'm not telling you what the mystery flavor is because if you had it, you can scan it. You can find out what it is. I don't even know if I've tried Endless Summer or not. I know I have a full bag, but I don't remember if I tried Endless Summer. I have a full mixed bag, the original, the OG bag. Still have a bunch in there from the OG release that they sent to me. she's gonna love she's gonna love listening to your musical serenade. Yes. Smash the like button or Andy will beat you up. She knows where you live. Rick, most people, like 99.99% of everybody who puts stuff on the internet on YouTube is never going to monetize their shorts. I do know that from this morning, I do not like watching short form content on Facebook because they put ads in the middle of them. Well, they're not necessarily short form, like 2 to 3 minute long videos, but they're the vertical videos. And they'll put like ads every 10 seconds sometimes. And I'm like, you're like, da 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 da. And then there's an ad. And I'm like, I just want to hear about this story. What's happening? What's going on? John says, Dustin, thank you. You're very welcome, my friend. He says, I was considering Ozempic, but since it won't make my penis grow, I decided to. That's the thing, losing weight in and of itself, they say for every 20 pounds, a male will gain a 1/4 inch. So if you're saying I get down to about 10 pounds, how much do bones weigh? No, but I mean, I kept seeing it, and I was like, that's hilarious. But it's all a part of weight loss and not Ozempic. So it's not Ozempic causing, like they say, that Ozempic is causing, male enhancement. It's the weight loss in the pubic area causing things to appear bigger. But yeah, that's probably why I've been making some more controversial stuff as of late. And I think that's kind of the algorithm was like, you know what? You're talking about stuff we don't want you to talk about. So, whatever. Sean says that he is a tooling engineer with an electrical background. Rick says, I guess some guys use their lizard in their shorts to get views. You know what I mean? Sometimes you will. Cindy says 7 full days of triple B&E down 5.2 pounds. I still never weighed. I didn't weigh anything because it's not why I'm doing it. And I just didn't care. I thought about it because I figured you guys might want to know, but knowing what so we went into Thursday night. We went over to Chandra's friend's house to hang out for Chandra's birthday, and her friend had gone through some stuff, and I won't go into details about that, but some of you might know. I'm sure I blabbed about it to some of you, but we went over there and we ordered pizza. So we had pizza Thursday night for Chandra's birthday. And one thing I did notice, and I mean, and it's kind of, it's like we were planning on certain things. I wasn't planning on the pizza, but I'm glad to see that being consistent up to that point, I wasn't able to go at the pizza like I normally would. Normally I'd eat like most of a large pizza and then the breadsticks. And then we ordered there was brownies and all this stuff that, and like garlic knots and like this pizza sauce, dipping sauce stuff. And it was very delicious because pizza to me is delicious. And most people, unless you're Rick, love pizza. And it was just one of those things where I just didn't have the desire, or it didn't feel like I should, I didn't care to eat as much as I normally would. And then we went to sushi. Like I knew we were going to sushi Friday on her birthday. That's a typical thing that she wants to do on her birthday. We don't do it very often. It's a little expensive, and we usually end up paying for the kids. So it's a kind of an expensive endeavor for us to go out to sushi, even though it is an affordable sushi place. When you're paying for 6-7 people, it's a little bit different. But yeah, and then sushi never really impacts me poorly because I don't think rice is a big deal to me. Rice doesn't impact me negatively. I mean, I don't eat it very often anyway, but the rice doesn't bother me. There's plenty of fish. There's protein mixed in. There's fat with some of the sauces that they utilize to hold it all together. So that doesn't bother me too much. and then we'll be good until the 12th. I don't know what she's gonna want to do. She may want to do something homemade. I don't know. Might be better for me. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I just wanted to talk about that because like that was a happy kind of piece of information that if I'm doing triple B&E and every day I've been having hamburger patties and eggs or eggs and bacon, or usually not eating all three each day, but obviously butter and stuff. And one day I had the steakums, like because it's cheap, I mean, relatively speaking, cheap, and then some eggs on top of that, and it was delicious. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's just what I look at. Like, that's how I've been eating, simple as possible, because I just want to keep it simple. And Rick said that he had his 40-year high school reunion is next year. Well, that's cool. Rick said never went to a reunion either. It is a not at the school. If it's not at the school, I don't go. Okay. And he says I attended my 30th reunion from high school. Oh, from a high school I never graduated from. I grew up with those people though, and they left, and then I left my sophomore year. Okay. Travers Wolf says, I don't hide, I'm awkward. Well, hi, awkward. It's nice to meet you. Welcome back, Travers. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Let's see. Charlie is in the house. Not sure anyone would recognize me from either high school or college reunion. I don't do social media. Now, I want to know, like, do some of you feel like not doing social media is kind of a badge of honor? Like, look at me, guys. And I'm not saying this about you, Charlie. I'm just asking generally because there's usually people who will have social media but never use it. So like they're friends with everybody, but then they don't look at it. They don't update. They don't do anything, but they just have it. And then there's people like me who utilize social media all the time, and I have just about all of them. But I think that kind of comes because I got into social media, if you will, in the 90s with AOL and AOL chat rooms. And that was just one of those things that I was truly into. And I mean, it really helped me learn to type, and it really helped me with social skills. Um, I was almost unable to talk to people like in person that I didn't know very easily. Strangers, I couldn't just walk up to strangers and talk to them like I can now. So I really feel that my utilization of AOL and chat rooms and meeting people both online and in person, back when they were like, don't meet people from online, they're dangerous. And I'm like, hold my beer. But like from like 15, I was like 16, 17 years old. And I would have a hard time talking to people in person at school, but I could come home and have conversations from around the world, mostly throughout the States. But, you could jump in and talk to people from around the world, really, anybody who had AOL. And I think that was very fascinating to me. And I really enjoyed that because I would just be able to have friends all over the country. It's not much different from what I do here with you, because here I am, I sit and I can talk to people all over the world, and I'm able to do so relatively effortlessly, I think. I mean, I have my times, but I just kind of curious, like some people just don't care for social media. Some people just don't do well with it. There's a lot of societal pressures that are incorporated with social media. There is the negative aspects of social media where people will double and triple down on things just because that's their personality or whatever, or that's what they feel will get them clout or whatever. People get outraged over things that really aren't their business. I just think that there's a lot of things like that and that revolve around social media. And I think there's people that can look at that and go, okay, well, that's the ridiculous side of social media. And that's not something I bother myself with. But every once in a while, things in social media will get me and kind of gut me or really hurt me. And then, I mean, but I'm utilizing it more so as a promotional tool, so to speak, for this, and to maybe reach out and share things, and people might find it wherever they are. So I think social media reach is important when it comes to this community. I don't pay attention too much to like the Facebook groups and such because they seem to be toxic cesspools of just negativity or clout seeking. They want to be I'm the most carnivore or I'm the most keto or whatever the case is. And I mean there's definitely people that are in my life that are not social media people. They just don't do it. And then there's people that are on it all the time. And I just kind of want to do, those of you who don't, maybe even you as well, Charlie, like because you don't use it, is that something that, that you have your reasons, but is that something you kind of like, yeah, I don't use this. I'm not on social media and all that stuff. I just kind of curious, like, and I'm sure your life is a lot more quiet and probably more condensed in a way because, you don't have on Facebook, I have like 1,100 friends or whatever, but you don't see all of those. It's a definite curation of content when you even when you're dealing with certain people, because you'll not see certain content. You will see more people than you see other people. Then there's always the people that you're friends with who don't utilize it. So yeah, I know that people like it, and social media is demonized as of late, but it's still relatively in its infancy if you look at the ways in which humans communicate. So I was just kind of curious about people look at the way they do, and I think sometimes we kind of things get a bad rap where it shouldn't. Because I think realistically, in the grand scheme of things, social media is it's probably here to stay in some form or fashion. We probably haven't seen its final form. We really don't know what it's going to look like in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Because when I first started using MySpace, it was drastically different than utilizing AOL, and then that kind of truncated itself down into just Messenger. And then basically you had your friends from AOL, and then you just talked to them, and you had your friends who were on AOL Messenger. And then that kind of transitioned into MySpace, Facebook, and then Instagram and Twitter, and all these things have come out. So I was just curious to see. There's always a new one coming out all the time. Uh, you know, and I think social media is a weird way to kind of keep up with people. Like I have friends and they're realtors and they're putting up their properties that they have that they're trying to sell. Or I have a friend who's a realtor and he flips properties. And or you're usually going to see the worst of people on social media or what they have curated to be as the best of themselves. So I never don't think you're ever really getting the true person. Ash Taylor's in the house. Good morning, Ash. I'm glad to see you. You and all you beautiful people, she says. Happy Sunday. And good morning to Ash and Chris and Mel. Oh, loveliest people ever. If you haven't, take a moment, go over and bookmark Ash's podcast over on YouTube. If you have Spotify, go in, follow her on Spotify. If you're on Apple, go and do the same thing on Apple. Just find her. It's Ash Fault Podcast. I listened to the first full episode. It's fantastic. It's only going to get better with time. It's wonderfully produced, and you know that she and Chris are working very hard behind the scenes on that. So she deserves all of us to go and follow her and give her all the support she needs so that she can be successful in that. And Chris put out a bagel video yesterday. So go take a look at that. I know some people are making those bagels today. And I'm like, how do you guys get that stuff so fast? I still haven't got the chance to get everything in from, I don't even have everything purchased to make the 90-second bread yet. I got to wait till my next YouTube payment comes in to buy that stuff. Woo. People are saying hello to people. Marisa says she has been the one to coordinate the reunions of your class. Yeah, it's always like some of the popular kids will kind of do that. I was never a popular kid, so. And it's weird because I've gone out sometimes with people that I went to school with that I didn't think we were friends, and like people always look back with rose-colored glasses. Like if they were the popular kid, they will look back at you maybe as somebody who wasn't a popular kid who they didn't necessarily have a problem with, or you just weren't in their group. They'll look at you more positively than you look at them. Because I mean, there's a little bit of resentment there. I mean, there's always a little bit of resentment if you weren't a popular kid, or you didn't have a lot of friends or whatever. And high school is a tricky kind of high school is like social media, where a lot of stuff's going on that you don't need to pay attention to. A lot of stuff is happening around you that makes you feel bad, but it's not necessarily intended to make you feel bad. And you're just kind of fumbling around trying to figure it all out like social media, and then it's over. Like 4 years of high school was crazy. Middle school was 3 years and awful. I just had bad experiences. I mean, yeah, there was good experiences, but I didn't have good experiences in middle school and high school, but that's fine. I think it made me who I am today, obviously. And then my time with AOL and all that, and meeting people and learning how to communicate and learning how to be a social person in general. Ash said, just got done with Bible study and drinking my coffee. Chris is still sleeping, so Mel and I get to cuddle up and watch Uncle Dustin. Well, that's fantastic. Well, don't wake him up because that man needs to sleep. You guys work so hard. I worry about you guys. I hear a little more about behind the scenes and what's going on and what they're working on, and they're always going, and they've had a lot of shows this week, and they've been playing in CMA week in Nashville, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. And I mean, I don't know where they get it. I don't know how they fit it all in. They're just crazy people, and I love them. And I'm glad you're here. But don't wake up that man. Don't wake him up. Let him sleep till he wakes up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and Cindy's telling Charlie, he says, no doubt they would not recognize you. Yeah, I mean, seeing the before and after photos, and even like just seeing you intermittently, like when I get a chance to see you in person, you're like just getting more jacked. You're like, eventually going to be like unrecognizable. Marisa says, we were a very small school and my graduating class of 23 students. So I imagine most of you are probably still in contact for the most part, unless it was just a bad experience for some. Like I had a friend. Weird thing is I have a friend, and we became friends in like 99, 2000. And he went to a very, very, very small school. I think his graduating class was, probably gonna get it wrong, his entire graduating class was probably 50 people, maybe. I can't remember exactly. It's been a long time since he's told me, but I know it's like 50 people. And then I went and I got a job in 2007, and I worked with two people from his graduating class. How weird and random is that? It's like sometimes the world is so vast but so tiny at the same time. So I always just love that. Like he had a graduating class, and I ended up working with two of them. Hmm. And he says, if I'm gonna eat sugar as a pastime, I'm choosing donuts. I'm not a candy person, chocolate glazed. I miss that. I've never been a big fan of donuts. I don't know. They were just messy to me. Like they would just like if you ate a glazed donut, all that the glazing would just crumble off and fall into your shirt. You're trying to wipe it off and you get sticky. It was just something about it. I just didn't like it. Now, like a good alligator coffee cake, something like that. You eat with a fork and it's warm, and you have a big glass of milk. Anything I can eat with a glass of milk, like brownies, cookies. Like Shannon and I have gone and bought the Toll House the caramel turtle cookies, the take and bake ones, like you just put them on a pan and cook and bake them. And we usually buy two packages. One package we'll eat raw while the other ones are baking. And there's just something about warm cookies and milk. And something that I was talking about and I've been considering, and I'll run it by you guys, and I imagine it'll be mixed. But over the last couple of years, this channel, we have tried hundreds of products, from keto treats, keto snacks, beverages, candies, cookies, cakes, muffins, pastries, breads, tortillas, whatever the case is, chips, whatever. We've tried just about everything on the market that we could reasonably get our hands on. Things that we could buy in the store. We've got things sent to us. We've ordered things online, and we would try. I still have things that we've reviewed that I have never even edited and put out for you guys. Let me know if you want them. They just never did very well. They would get maybe 50 views, which is not terrible, but like they would never gain traction. And they were easy to make, but they cost us money. I mean, we're talking like each video would be $20 because we're paying whatever it is to purchase whatever it is. So, I mean, eventually, we started to run out of things, and it was almost always the same thing. Oh, this is gross. Too expensive. Ingredients aren't great. And I got to thinking, because I used to buy these high key, I think they were high key, like Oreo cookies from Walmart, and then they stopped carrying them. Then they started carrying the Catalina Crunch Oreo cookies. But every time I would eat any of those cookies, I would eat them and then it'd be like, well, they're close to Oreos. Like the Catalina Crunch ones are more akin to the cheaper store brand sandwich cookie that weren't Oreos, because Oreos are very crispy, crunchy, very distinct flavor. And I was thinking to myself, like, the problem with those products is you get lulled into a false sense that they're healthy. You get lulled into a false sense of that they're better for you than the real thing. And I imagine marginally better, yes, in some instances. Less sugar, yes, but how does your body react to them? Are you gassy for 2 days after you eat them? Are you uncomfortable? Do they give you, all these issues, gastrointestinal issues? And I was thinking, and I'm more likely to keep those in the house, and I'm more likely to buy them on a whim than I am the full-on, like, package of Oreos. Now, here's the thought experiment. Here's the question for you. Is it better to have those treats all the time, in the house all the time, kind of keeping you like, they're there? You've got, like the Catalina Crunch cookies, the Catalina Crunch cereals, the Cereal School, the, whatever other brands there are, the Magic Spoons and all those things, the Lily's chocolate, all of the Chalk Zero, all these things that one would order and keep in the house. And I'm not talking about keto chow ice cream. I think that's a complete kind of like it's a little more intensive. And most of us have keto chow in the house. But I'm saying all these other products, and there's things that you can buy from Walmart. They have the legendary chips. I think we've got a video of that we never put out. They're like tortilla chips. There's the Quest bars, the Quest cookies, the Quest candies. There's the keto, like the Oh My Keto or whatever that brand are, Kiss Me Keto candies, and all these things that you can find in the grocery store. There's all these different things that show up that are readily available, but are going to give you gas and probably in a roundabout way behave the same in the body as eating the real food. But in my opinion, the way I look at it, you're more likely to keep them in the house. Now, I'm not as likely to keep Oreos or Toll House cookies in the house. But is it better to have the real thing here and there once you're at a point where you know that that's not going to be something you're going to have all the time? And if that's something you can't moderate, then obviously I would say don't do it. But would it be better for like a birthday or whatever to have real Oreos and real Toll House cookies or whatever the case is versus the pretend to be better for you? Because we all know they're just kind of pretend better. That's the question. Is it better to have the real thing every once in a while or the fake thing all the time? Which is going to be more detrimental to you? And I'm leaning more towards the idea that, like, if I want Oreos, I'll just get a package of Oreos. One, they're like $3 a package, but they're less likely to give me the gas. They're less likely to give me all these issues. So I don't know. I've been toying with it. I mean, it's just, there's always something kind of swirling around in my head. And, I don't think there's ever a right answer or wrong answer, really, at least when you're just thinking it out. But, like, it's just something I've been thinking about. Let me know what you think. And Brian is saying that when his high school graduation was a class of like 1,700. Yeah, we graduated. I don't know. Our class was probably 500. Our school itself was like 2,000 students. But I mean, it was big enough. We graduated at a basketball stadium or basketball arena. At the time, at the time it was Market Square Arena where the Pacers played. Market Square Arena is no longer there. Now it's Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacers are in the finals. We play tonight. We play tonight. I think we are here. Maybe we're here. I don't know if we're in Oklahoma City. I think we're here. I think it was 2 games in Oklahoma. Then the third game is here. So, or no, we've only played the first game. So the second game, I think, is still in Oklahoma City. So tonight's in Oklahoma City as well. I think that's correct. I think this is game 2. Visual Keto is in the house. Good evening. Or good evening. What am I talking about? Good morning. Thank you for being here. She says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Listening from a dark under the covers. The best place to listen to my voice. Isn't that right? Curl up and snuggle deep inside the blankets and just hibernate for a while, just relax. And now deep thoughts with Jack Handy. Anyway, Patricia Hoffman is here. Good morning. She said, check out our new podcast. It rocks. Yes, 100%. Travers says, the mystery flavor is meat. I would not want to drink meat electrolytes. That sounds hideous. No thanks. Charlie says, Nick Norwitz had a great video on the sugar diet. He highlighted the low protein aspect, which resonated with me whenever I've intentionally cut protein to similar levels doing high-fat carnivore. Yeah, I'm curious about that. Like, cut the protein levels, still have the fat. Patricia said, the sugar diet is like the rice diet of the late 60s. White rice and sugar didn't age well. That's just like rice pudding then. You get a little cream, and it's like rice pudding, basically, Yeah. Yeah, so Andy says, I know where you live. I'm going to see you Wednesday evening and early Thursday morning. Yeah. Early. She's going to be here at like 3:30 in the AM so I can drive her and Susan to the airport. Crazy. I think what we may do, if you want, maybe we'll park your car at my house and then I'll take you guys to your hotel or whatever you want to do. And then I'll just pick you up at the hotel and take you to the airport. That might be best instead of trying to park the car at 3:30 in the morning. So that way I can come and get you. That way I can leave and not really have to wake anybody up. Yeah. Okay. I got distracted there for a second. Trevor said, had vegetable soup last week. Literally burned my mouth quite bad. I don't got a good tolerance for plant toxins anymore. Was the soup just too hot? That seems like that would be the issue instead of like I've never known like plants to burn your mouth. That's a little strange. I just don't know. And he's saying, "Good morning to Ash. We're making the bagels today. Chris hit it out of the park with the 92nd bread. We've had them 3 to 4 times already. That's awesome." Yeah, I always feel so much better. Like so once like the first day is over, like my the food noise, the food cravings almost go to zero, and I'm a lot better off. And I just feel much better, and it's something I don't have to no longer worry about food. So I get up and we get up in the morning, we have our coffee together, Shannon and I, and then hang out with the girl. I make them their breakfast and stuff. I make, the girl gets whatever she wants that day, eggs and fruit and sometimes hash browns and whatever the girl wants. Cause you got to feed a kid and they're, you know what I mean? She's a kid. So, um, and then I make sure her egg, and then I don't eat till like between 2 and 5. I'm just not ready to eat until then. Sometimes it's a little different. Sometimes I'll eat before I have my coffee, but that's rare. But sometimes I'm just hungry and I'll make the coffee and I'll let it sit. And then because it's in an insulated mug, so it's not going to get cold right away. And then I'll make some food and I'll sit there and enjoy my food. Then I'll enjoy my coffee. Then we get on with the day. You know, Tanya says, I give smart cheese and I want my smart scale to acknowledge it. I understand that. And he said, we would love to be able to take my smart scale and give it to talking about making me mad. Okay, okay. I'm not able to read today. I would love to take my smart scale and give it a talking to him. Oh, okay. All right. Good morning, Aaron. Everybody. Aaron is here. Good morning, booby goats. Oh, let's see. Ash said, no, Cindy, it's a podcast playlist on your YouTube channel. So no separate one. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so with YouTube, if you have a podcast and you go into so basically what she's saying is when you make a podcast, so like when I save this into a Sunday morning playlist, which I forget to do all the time. So there's like never updates. It's just like it shows up, but it's not showing up on the podcast side of things. So this is a podcast on YouTube Podcasts because I created a playlist and designated the playlist as a podcast. So when I do go back in and put all the Sunday morning coffees into the playlist, then it shows up on you go to like the YouTube podcast side of things or whatever. It's a little weird and wonky how they do things, but it doesn't do things like you have to then go and upload it separately to it used to be I can't remember what it was. It was Anchor podcasts. So you could record a podcast with Anchor. I was even a point where I think I even recorded just a simple podcast with the Anchor app and recorded it with my phone as a podcast years and years and years before YouTube. But then all the podcasts that I did, you basically then Spotify bought Anchor. So if you uploaded anything to Anchor, it showed up on Spotify. But Anchor would then also push it out to Apple and all the others. So if you basically upload things to Anchor, but at the time I don't think they did video. They do video now because of all the big podcasts all have video now. So and it was inevitable to be visual as well as audio. There's still some audio only ones out there like Bill Burr and things like that. But yeah, I mean it's so much easier now to get who you are out to the masses. which is it's pretty fun. And I'm glad that Ash is doing this because she and I had talked about this before she had ever started it. I think she was in the works, and I was like, "You need a podcast talking about music," because like one of the first conversations we had in person was about music gear, and I love music gear. I love the idea of they're talking about touring. She's getting there talking about like what they're doing on tour, all that kind of stuff, because that stuff is so fascinating. A friend of mine who's passed away now had started a podcast. I think it was called the Heaviest Hitter Podcast, and he had 2 episodes. He only got 2 episodes in, unfortunately. They were fantastic, but they were getting in and talking about like, well, what was your first drum kit? You know, how did you get your first drum kit? All these things that you never really get to when you see like videos of bands. And I have a whole YouTube channel that I have created with, you know, music, intro music, and that I actually paid someone to make for me. And like a logo that I paid for on Fiverr and all just all the stuff. It's all there ready to go, but I just haven't had a chance really to get that going. And I'm not quite sure if if it would remain music if I started it. And it might just be a dumping ground to talk about anything that I want to talk about that's not this. Because even with this, I get into things that that are off topic. We get into talking about, we've talked about electric cars before. We talk about music that most of you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing that I would like to have, like, you know, like someone just to sit down and talk about things, have a good time, and just talk about whatever we want to, music, touring, whatever. I never got a chance to tour, but I did go, you know, I did book shows and stuff for bands and booked them out of state shows. And then they would do like weekend shows. And I've done like weekend stints with bands and stuff. But, you know, let's see. Rick says he avoids social media. That's yeah. Aaron says, I'm frozen in time. Everyone knows me. I think Cindy was saying you have like 10 kids. I knew you had 10 kids, which is still mind boggling because you do look like you're about 18, 19 years old, maybe 25 at most. And I'm like, you just like, there's no way. I don't know. Are you young? I think you're even younger than I am, aren't you? I'm 45. I'll be 46 this month. So you have to be younger than me. Because I mean, you do look like you're about 20. Everyone needs their coffee, very much so. Meeting people from online is how Brian and I met. Let's see, you know what I'm saying? See how it goes. Yeah, Rick says I remember GeoCities and Yahoo and AIM. Yeah, AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah. And this is Travers' take. It's like social media is very fake and very bad for your mental health. In his opinion, or in their opinion, it says, but it is essential for news to find out what is really happening in the world. I think that's even easier to fool people with social media, though. I think it's very easy to fool people because you can put an article about something, throw a misleading headline on it, and people will really read the headline and take away what they want to take away from that headline, and that's it. They don't ever get to the article. So I think it's very easy to control the masses with social media because they figure out what buttons to push. So yeah, with all this information, with everything that we have at our fingertips, I think it's still easy for us to fall for things we shouldn't be falling for in 2025. But that's just kind of how I am about it. Rick said, Twin Brook Acre said, I went to the lobby and got my coffee. I'm sure you all missed me. We did. That was 30 minutes ago. I'm way, way behind. Been on a lot of diatribes today. My apologies, everybody. Let's see. Sean says, well, chat rooms and MMORPGs or whatever taught me how to type. At one point, I was up to 80 words a minute. I don't think I'm anywhere near that now. That was my problem. I was like failing at a typing class. I basically failed typing class because I was like, why do I need this? Why do I need to learn how to type? Like, same reason I failed Spanish because at the time I'm like, what do I need Spanish for? Why do I need to learn Spanish? I wish I had learned Spanish. I wish I learned a bunch of languages. I wish I had, I wish it was a thing where they would teach you early on in life a bunch of languages. It's easier to learn when you're learning English for the first time, And I just wish that that was a thing. But there's like cool things coming out where you can get like the new Samsung earbuds. They like auto translate. That's pretty crazy stuff. I would believe that cats control the social global media machine. I bet they do. I'm the most buttery goat. I don't I don't even know why to take that. That's wholesome or not, depending on how your brain works, and that's where I'll leave that. I understand, Cindy. She says, my Facebook keto page, there is no negativity. Yeah, I get it. But also, it's still relatively small. You start getting 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people, and then it becomes a cesspool of, that's not keto. How dare you? Charlie says, social media was becoming addictive several years ago, and I'm a productivity drain. That's a 100%. It is a productivity drain. Even when I'm sitting here in my office by myself and I'm doing things, but a lot of time, like I will pull up something because I want to figure something out. Like I'll pull up YouTube to figure out how to edit something the way that I want to edit, or figure a new way of doing something, or I go into a program to find some B-roll or start looking for music, and then I'm like listening to like doing this, that. It's like so much. Like I think that's kind of one of the worst parts about doing all this all by myself, is because then I have to do all the parts. I'm like pulling in music and trying to make sure it fits. But it's all really cool though for me at the same time, because as inefficient as it might be, it's still really cool and gratifying for me to see, or to start with nothing and then see a short that I made that, like, I can sit back and go, I can't believe I made that. Like things like where the way the footage hit and the music hit just right, and sometimes it's not even my doing, it's just happy accident sometimes, or like, or I'm able, like, sometimes I'm not able to find the footage that I want or whatever, and it's just I have to make something else work. But yeah, that's weird. Amy is in the house. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. She says, we're so glad to see you. Risa is in the house. Good morning, Risa. Yeah, and Jesus, or yeah, is right. Jesus or Jesus, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not sure. If you realize a lot of, activities really like sports, news, movies, TV shows. So much of what we do utilize, but at the same time, you need some of that downtime. You need some, like, you can't have 100% productivity all the time, because full on productivity is a productivity drain. Like just working 12 hours nonstop, you're not working as efficiently as if you just did like 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours kind of thing. You know, that's just a thing. Like, yeah, you got to have distractions from life. Like, we just finished watching the first season of the Four Seasons last night, which is a show with Steve Carell and I can't even think. It's Steve Carell is the main character, sort of. It's about a group of like three couples. So three couples get together all the time. They do all the stuff together. And it's like basically what happens is, like, there's like spring, summer, fall, and winter. And I guess there's going to be a season two. But yeah, we finished the last two episodes last night. But yeah, I mean, I could have worked in my office for those 2 hours and got another short done, maybe, or got this live set up sooner than I did. But I mean, I got a chance to spend time with Chandra. She got home from work. We spent time together, you know. So, and then then usually at night we watch a little, like when we get into bed, we watch a TV show or we watch some YouTube or whatever, depending on what's really what we're feeling. Or sometimes she's in the bathroom doing her nightly routine, listening to her stuff, and I'm watching a YouTube video in the bedroom watching what I want to watch. I like to watch those pizza reviews, those Barstool pizza reviews. I like those. They're silly and goofy, but I like them. Never going to go to those places and eat that pizza, so I like watching it. It's fascinating to me. It's entertaining. I love pizza, so there's that. Aaron says, I'm really real on my channel. I figured no one else is going to be themselves, so I should just be myself. I mean, I'm about as myself as I can get here. Probably more so than I should. But I like your channel, Aaron. I like, your kids are kids and they act like kids and they do kid things and, they're all up in your grill and you're trying to make a video. I love it. And Tanya says that Charlie, I have to admit that YouTube and chats take up my time, but I don't see much negative result. I think that there's a difference in like how often I'm in chats. Like I try to be in the Monday morning keto, keto away from the couch or whatever, keto beyond the couch. And then the Thursday night ones, I try to be there. And all the lives that you guys have throughout the weeks, I try to at least stop in and say hi. There's always something kind of going on, but I try to at least stop in and say hi to everybody. I mean, like Victor had a live this week on Thursday, but I was only able to watch a little bit of it because of the internet where I wasn't good. Then I was able to watch a little bit of the Two Crazy Ketos, but again, my internet wasn't that good. I did get a chance, and they did sing "Happy Birthday" to Chandra, so that was nice. I'm very glad that they were able to do that. Yeah, I mean, there's a big commitment when it comes to YouTube. YouTube is a very large time commitment. Whether you're a creator or just somebody in the community that's interacting in chats, because there's almost always some kind of live going on. Amy says she's been listening to Ash's podcast on Spotify, as you should. As you should. I would also maybe go, and if you are somebody that wants to just help support her channel, go over there. And if you've already listened to her podcast on Spotify, just let her, just like I'm sure she's putting them in a playlist. They're in a playlist on her YouTube. Just play through that every once in a while. Hit those, and she gets the watch hours and the views and all that stuff, and that'll help her channel grow. So, I mean, if you're watching, watch it on Spotify, that helps it grow on Spotify. Watch it on YouTube, helps it grow on YouTube, so she can get the recognition and the exposure she deserves. Reese is saying, good morning to everybody. So Trevor says his apple is fattening. And I don't necessarily think that apples are the problem. And I don't think anybody has ever really eaten so many apples. And I'm not talking apple pie, apple juice, but just an apple. I think apples are fine. I think if you have an apple here, like if you're eating 10 apples a day, sure, that's probably not a good plan. But like we go to the apple orchard and we pick apples once a year, and I probably have 2 or 3 apples while we're there. I don't necessarily eat them after, but I enjoy an apple while we're walking around the apple orchard. The different kinds of apples, what do they taste like this year? I mean, I don't really think that's a problem. I think it's the thing is like people blame apples for what the pie did, or people blame strawberries for what the milkshake did, or I think we demonize fruit where we probably shouldn't. Because yes, there's sugar in fruit. Yes, it is a contributor to the problem. If you have other carb issues, because I think if you're eating pancakes and cereal, and then you're having bread sandwiches and big Subway sandwiches, and then you're having 2 or 3 20 ounces of soda a day, and you're having this, that, and the other, and then you're having fruit on top of that. It's not fruit that's the problem. It's not fruit that's causing all your issues. Now you may be allergic to some kind of fruits, or you may be metabolically deranged in a way that fruit impacts you very negatively. But I think if you get yourself in order and you go, keto, carnivore for a while, and then after your metabolism and your metabolic functions start to kind of go back to normal, I don't think fruits are that big of a deal. You have a half a cup of blueberries on Tuesday, the carnivore police aren't going to show up at your house and take you away. You have an apple on Thursday, I don't think that's a big deal. Like, if you're legitimately eating steak and eggs and bacon as a bulk of your day or your life, and that's the majority of where your food intake comes from, you have a couple of strawberries here and there and some watermelon and maybe some apples sometimes, and maybe an orange. I don't think that's going to be the problem. You're not going to go diabetic and be obese again from some apples, from some apples. But are they fattening? 100%. But I don't think that's what's causing the obesity epidemic in this country. Like, apples in history, in nature, are designed to basically they want to taste good, so that you eat the flesh of the apple, and then you throw the apple core somewhere else away from the tree, and those seeds get into the ground and it grows another tree. Then those apples get eaten by animals or whatever, and then they get pooped out somewhere else, and then you've got new tree. That's the point. That's like, humans procreate. That's how fruit trees procreate. You eat the fruit, throw the apple core away, and right there in the middle of the apple core are the seeds, and the seeds get into the ground, and some will grow, some won't. But I don't think, and I mean, it also served a double purpose because, and I had somebody arguing with me on Twitter the other day about the idea that fruits were, a survival food for us because they help put on weight and calories and all that stuff for the winter time. Most fruits are fall, late summer, fall fruits. There's spring fruits and stuff that you can get, and all depending now with airplanes and ships and refrigeration. We have fruit all year round. That's probably not the best. Then you have to moderate, and you have to be able to control yourself and don't have them every day. Don't eat 3 pounds of blueberries every day. I mean, I did have somebody on social media try to say that, a pound of watermelon is 150 calories and a pound of strawberries is only 150 calories. So you can eat 2 pounds of food and feel so full on 300 calories. I'm like, yeah, but how long does that last? How much water is that? How much sugar is that? Like, and they're like, don't effing talk about the sugar. Don't effing, like, why are you being weird about this? The sugar there is a problem with the sugar. If you're metabolically unhealthy, that sugar isn't great. But you work to become metabolically healthy, and then you can reintroduce some of that sugar again. And I'm not talking about candy, like fruits. Now, should you eat a whole pineapple? Probably not. But a handful of blueberries a day isn't going to cause you to have diabetes again. Unless that handful of blueberries leads to Pop-Tarts, leads to milkshakes, which leads to whatever. That's the issue. That's what you have to decide for yourself, though. I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do, and I'm not giving you permission for things. I'm just giving my opinions. I'm thinking that if you are a person who misses fruit and you've done the work and you're now, you've lost 100, 200 pounds and you are eating primarily meat and eggs and some veggies sometimes or whatever you choose to eat, and you throw a half a cup or a cup of blueberries in there every once in a while, you're not going to balloon back to 400 pounds. You're not going to go and become diabetic again. So you take a keto chow shake and you take the blueberry and you put some real blueberries in there and blend it up. You're not gonna die. You're gonna be okay. I think we get so deep into like we get so invested in the beginning of our journey that as we succeed in our journey, we never quite lose track or touch of the things that we avoided in the beginning of the journey. Now, I'm not telling people to put sugar back in their diet. I'm not even telling people to do the sugar diet or anything like that, 'cause I don't necessarily think it's appropriate for most people. If you choose to do it for yourself, I support you because that's what this channel is here for. If if Rick, if Mr. Mopar Rick said, I've been eating meat since I was 15 years old and I feel great, but you know what? Maybe vegan will make me feel better. After we wake up from passing out, I think we would be like, well, Rick, let's see how that goes for you. You're probably not going to like it, but carry on, friend. You know what I mean? That's what we're here for. I'm not here to tell John Gugahan that he shouldn't have done the sugar diet because I don't believe that. Because he made the choice and he did it. And he's utilizing it as a lever to keep away from alcohol. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever we're all different here, but we're all really trying to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that's not a cookie cutter thing for each of us. What works best for me isn't going to work best for Travers or Cindy or Ash or Risa or Evelyn or Amy or, Tanya or any number of people here. Aaron, all these people that are in here right now. Karen is here. Good morning, Karen. But I mean, if, we're all different and we have to celebrate that fact and we have to celebrate that we get something out of this community that nobody really talks about. With a diverse community of different ways of eating, we get to see how it behaves in individuals. So we got Rick, who's primarily carnivore, but will have a piece of fruit every once in a while. Cindy does what she does. She likes, triple B&E sometimes with some keto chow. Amy does what Amy does, and we get to see how that impacts them. And they come here on Sundays and Tuesdays, and we talk about it, and we get that information. We get that information, and we don't have to do that experimenting necessarily on ourselves unless what they're going through, what they found is compelling enough for us to go, you know what? That sounds like I might want to try that. And then they try it, and then it's N equals 1, whether it works or doesn't work. So I think that's one of the major benefits of this group, or this community. We get together, we hang out, we talk about our week, we talk about what's working for us, what's not working for us, what we want to try. With Andy talking about her hormone medications, the thyroid medication. She's want to try something different. She's on one medication, and she heard that, well, maybe what she's going through might be better served by a different brand of medication or a different type of medication. She's going to try that out. Now, if I was to say, Andy, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? You're already on. Why would you? That doesn't make any sense. It's not my business. My business is to support her. My business is to be here and go, well, I hope that works. I hope that that's the switch. That's the catalyst that changes things for you and gets you back on track. Because I think if you're on a thyroid medication, and I'm not a doctor, a healthcare professional, I have no idea really what I'm talking about. But when we start talking about things, and I kind of wonder about stuff, like if you're on a thyroid medication and you change your diet and you lose a bunch of weight, how does that thyroid medication continue to work? It's not going to work the same way it was when you were metabolically, for lack of a better word right now, broken, like metabolically broken. Your metabolic system wasn't working efficiently. And you were putting in thyroid medication, a certain brand, and it was working at the time. And then you change everything about the interior of your body. You change what you're eating. You change, your body, the way it handles food. And then you wonder if that medication is going to still do the same thing it was doing before. Probably not. So trying something new like that makes 100% perfect sense. And I kind of wonder about that too. Like, when I listen to things about like Nick Norowitz, he was playing a video, the video I was watching last night. And there were things that I'm like, okay, so we talk about calories. Let's say calories 100% matter and calories are the only thing that matter. Okay. Think about when you are doing triple B&E or if you have ever gone through like carnivore and got to the point where you aren't going to the bathroom, you're not going number two as many times as you were before. Okay. Say you were, primarily like Mediterranean, vegetarian, whatever, and you were having movements multiple times a day, large quantities, right? How do we know? Do we know how many calories are being pushed out of the body in that waste? You take in 1,200 calories. How do we know what's left in that waste? Do we know? I've never heard anybody talk about it. Do we know? I mean, say you eat, say you're a 2,500 calorie diet, and you're eating chicken and you're eating broccoli and sweet potatoes and all these things, all and like your bread and pastas and stuff, all these things that make a lot of waste. And it's a calorie count. How much carbohydrates are being burned off of that? How many calories are being burned off of that? How many are being absorbed? How many nutrients? What are we pushing out? Do we know? Say you go on like a low calorie diet, and you're somebody like there's a guy that I follow right now. He's a big guy, and he was like 600 pounds. Now he's down to like 500 pounds. He's walking every day, and he's making this content. This content's blowing up. I mean, he's getting like celebrities following him, like Bert Kreischer's following now and commenting on him and stuff, and he's gaining popularity. But he's talking about how he's 500 plus pounds, and he's walking 10,000 plus steps a day, and he's keeping his calories under 2,000 calories. And I'm thinking that's insane because one, he's moving. He may not be he may not be going to the gym. Some he is, I think. But he's walking 10,000 steps a day. He's moving 500 pounds around, and he's only taking in 2,000 calories. That's a lot. And I did ask him a question about his satiety, and he came back and said it's fine. He's not hungry or whatever. No, that's fine too. But how sustainable is 2,000 calories working like that at 500 pounds? I mean, yeah, you're going to lose weight, but how sustainable is that? That's the question I ask. Because say you're eating like a clean, low calorie diet, more bulking foods you're eating. Because like you can look at like a big bag of broccoli is like 100 calories. It's like 4 servings, 100 calories total, or whatever. It's like 20. I think it's 20 calories a serving or 10 calories a serving. So a big bag will be like 10 servings, but it's like whatever. Like everybody gets a floret of broccoli, whatever the case is, right? Say you eat say you're on a low calorie diet and you're more worried about the amount of food you're getting than the whatever macros or whatever. So you're putting back 2 of those bags with mixed with like a pat of butter. So there's like 100 calories there. So you're eating like 300 calories with a gigantic bowl of broccoli. And then how much of that's coming out? How much of that's being absorbed? Are you getting any? How much of the caloric content's coming out? I just don't know. I don't know. Amy is right on board with me. I don't have all the ingredients either to make the bread or the bagels. And I promised him that I would. I just have to wait till I get the money to do it. I have to wait to get I have to wait until, because I didn't. So April, let's see. Yeah, April, I was $2 shy of getting a payment for April because then I would have got that money in May. But then that rolled over, and now I'm getting like a pretty sizable payment towards the end of this month. So right before my birthday, I get a YouTube check. That'll be pretty sizable. So then I'll be able to take some of that and grab some of those ingredients because I want to get some of those little silicone bowls to make the bread with. And I also have some ideas of what I want to do with that as well. Make something else with it. See how it works out. Kind of excited to try it. But you guys will come along. I'll make a video on it. I just have to I got to get it first. Because like everything in my cart right now is about $100 with everything that I want to get. Because I'm getting like the egg, getting the butter powder, some protein powder, the molds, another kind of mold that I want to try. And then I think I've got some other stuff in my cart as well. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. So I mean, I plan to make the video. It's just going to take me a while. So there's that too. Mm. This coffee is still so hot. Risa said, I just ordered the whey protein for the bagels. Just got the molds for the 92nd bread. Look at that. Everybody's doing this thing here. And Rick says something that I did not. Rick said, I was the oddball in high school. Like, really? I mean, did we second guess that? We love you, Rick, but we didn't, but we are not surprised. I think that's a thing, even at like your 10-year anniversary, your 10-year reunion, who's gone. Let's see. Tanya said, ran to a girl from high school. She said, oh, I remember you. You were a badass. And it's also weird, like, people may not have been like friends with you because they were maybe intimidated by you or things that you never would have dreamed of. You know what I mean? Risa said, high school, I was in a certain group of kids, but I wasn't the popular one. I am more popular on social media than in those days. I get together with my high school boyfriend 3 times a year. Well, that's fun. I never had any relationships or girlfriends or whatever when I was in high school. Just didn't know how to talk to girls very well. Online, I had online girlfriends, like AOL girlfriends. Got 2 different girlfriends over a course of a few years on AOL, but I never met them in person. So there's that. Ash says, I know better than waking the sleeping bear. Not even just that, you know. Ash says, oh, keto carnivore gives us a lot of energy, I guess. Yeah, but you guys are burning the candle at like 3 ends. Jaqueline! Good morning, Jaqueline. I'm glad to see you are here. Oh my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like an hour behind. Let me scoot through these because there's a lot of people saying hello to each other. And I can skip through that stuff here. No one here has seen me in person. One of these days we'll rectify that, Rick. One of these, I think, if things come to plan, our daughter is talking about doing and having having her wedding down at her grandparents' house down in the south of Florida. So I'll be in the Miami area for some time during that time. Depends how busy we are, and if I have a chance to get away, maybe we can meet up or something, and maybe grab a coffee or something. You don't drink coffee, whatever. We can go to a coffee shop anyway. Doesn't matter. We can do whatever. Meet up, have lunch, whatever the case is. Maybe I can try some iguana. Is it Jaqueline's birthday? Jaqueline, is it your birthday? Happy birthday to Jaqueline. We love you, Jackie. People are saying happy birthday to Jackie. Well, this is that the kind of a thing. Like, people think of things with like rose-colored glasses. They look back, they don't realize they made fun of you. They were just having a good time, but they didn't realize the impact that was having. Chris is awake. Good morning, folks. I'm awake, barely, going downstairs to find my wife and make her coffee. Oh, well, that's the sweetest thing. Enjoy that coffee, my friend. Karen says, I will be celebrating my 50th class reunion in July. Wasn't sure if I wanted to go at first, but I'm going. Well, that's awesome. Rick, of course, with the Rick take. Donuts are disgusting. Did you say you made a cake out of an alligator? I would make an alligator cake. Yeah. Sounds delicious. Alligator and coffee, so neither you or Cindy would eat it. Oh my goodness. So much so far behind. People like the bear is awake. Yeah, but look, from when I was talking about donuts, and he says, I'm even packing up some 90-second bread to bring to Seattle for the cruise. Fantastic. How was that video done, Chris? I need to look it up and see. Let me look that up real quick because I don't know. I don't know how well that video is performed. Yeah, the 90-second bread's got 78,000 views, so it's one of the better performing videos you've put out in a while. That's pretty awesome. Like that one, carnivore cereal, carnivore rice have all done pretty well. Carnivore biscuits has done pretty well. Yeah, it's awesome. Maritza's going back to sleep. Well, good night. Well, you're not going to hear this, but if you watch the replay, we'll hope you feel better. Andy likes the toasted bread the best, the toasted 90-second bread. Amy says, I'm glad Costco stopped carrying high key cookies. I gained 30 pounds when I ate those. I was thinking about that the other day because those were good. They were $10 for a giant bag, and it was nice having those in the pantry. But yeah, I'd drop some in a bowl and pour milk on them and make them like cereal. That was not so good. I wish they would carry things. I wish they would cycle them a little bit better because it is nice having some of the some things to buy like that. It's nice to have that, and they didn't bother me as bad as some of the other things. They didn't bother me like the high key little chocolate chip cookies. They didn't bother me as bad as the Oreo style ones. Amy says, I was the one who planned our 30-year high school reunion last year. Let's see. I was nerdy, dork, but was surprised. What surprised me is when people came up to me and said they always looked up to you and thought you were popular. Well, that's the thing is I think it's like we get into our own head about things a lot too. Amy says, it wasn't popular. I was just outgoing and tried to be friends with everyone. I think that's one of the biggest things. I try to be friends with everybody, have more friends groups. So Tanya says that kids are grown and so nothing comes in my house. That's my problem right now. Like our kids our boys went to the store yesterday and they went shopping like 2 10-year-olds won the lottery. Like in my like our freezer in the house has like ice cream sandwiches full. There's like, and then in the refrigerator there are Uncrustables, and like, I don't even want to look in the freezer in the garage. We got 2 freezers in the garage, and I don't know what all they put in those things. It's crazy. It's insanity. Aaron says, I never really liked cereal. It would give me a headache and make me feel hungry, so I skip breakfast a lot. I found a taste for coffee at 11. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Magic Spoon says Risa gives me bad gastro issues. I can't eat it. Perfect keto macaroni and cheese, man. They don't even make it anymore. But I think there's another company that makes it. I don't know if they're going to be coming out with a boxed version or not. Steve from Sirius Keto had reviewed the pasta itself, and he said he alluded in a comment that I had left. He commented back on one of mine and alluded that they were going to have a mac and cheese, but I don't know. I have like 6 or 7 boxes of the mac and cheese. Uh, Jerry sent me a couple of boxes, so I've got those 3 boxes that she sent me. So we kind of keep those on hand because every once in a while that feels. But even that was like $7 a box. They were like on sale. Like you could cheapest you could get it were like $7 a box or something crazy like that. And you can get Kraft mac and cheese for $1. Now again, am I likely to keep Kraft mac and cheese in the house, or am I likely to go and buy a box every once in a while? More likely to go buy a box every once in a while. But I'm going to keep the perfect keto ones that I have in the house until they're gone, because then there are no more. But I know I just kind of wonder what's like if you're looking at a cost analysis, health analysis, how much better really is the perfect keto mac and cheese over the Kraft? And now they don't make anything. The perfect keto doesn't make that anymore. And so there's not really anything like it on the market. So every once in a while, I guess it'll just be real box mac and cheese. I just, I mean, I figure for me, and one of the topics, what the way this topic is going here is, the title of this video, this title of this live is, consistency. What does consistency really look like? To me, I feel my best triple B&E. I do. I feel my best triple B&E. I feel my best eggs and meat. Keeping it simple. I don't have to overthink it. I don't have to work that hard to cook these things. And I feel my best. And it helps me eliminate the food noise. But I'm a realistic person and I like other things. Sometimes I'm going to want those things. Those, like whether it's ramen noodles, which is silly to think that ramen noodles is the thing that I think about sometimes. And I'm like, ooh, I got to have it. Or, like things come along like the hot mustard Doritos. Should I eat those? No. Will I? Sure. The last time they had them was like 2 years ago. I don't much care for Doritos. Now, Hilo Chips, they don't make their Doritos anymore. Hilo Chips had a whole bunch of different flavors. They had, the nacho flavor. They had a chili lime flavor. They had a ranch flavor. And I bought the crap out of those at Costco. There may be a bag hiding in our pantry somewhere that slipped behind somewhere. And probably is one back there somewhere. But they don't. But I reached out to Hilo and they don't make those chips anymore. So really, then what are my options? Have real Doritos sometimes. But I gotta, but I have to be realistic with myself and understand that that's a slippery slope. So I have to be controlled and I have to be thoughtful when I do it. Like, so am I just going to have the regular old school nacho ones? Probably not. That doesn't interest me all that much. But the hot mustard ones come out every couple of years or whatever. And I'm like, well, I'll get a bag of those. Tried to find them, couldn't find them. Someone's mailing me a bag. Shout out to Christy Davis for that. She's sweet. She's sweet because I posted a thing about it looking for some because I saw them at Target and then I was like, no, I don't need those. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, they haven't been out for like 2 years. So I was like, when we were at Target again the other day and I went back to get a bag and they were gone. They didn't have any. And I started searching around local Walmarts and they all said they were out of stock. So I'm like, I guess I just put it on Facebook and see if anybody finds it or whatever. It's fine. She said she found them at her local whatever and they were buy two, get two free. So she's going to send me a bag. I'm like, well, that's amazingly sweet. So shout out to Christy Davis for that. She's amazing. Then I just kind of wonder, like, because keto products like that are falling to the wayside, will they return? I don't know. I mean, there was a point in time where keto was one of the most searched terms on Google. It's not that way anymore. Carnivore was leading the pack for a while, and I don't think it's that big of a deal anymore. So you have to look at what is, what are companies going to do if it's not trending and people, I mean, yeah, they're going to buy it, but the products are probably expensive to manufacture. They cost a lot of money. Like and I'm not going to mention the name of the company yet because I haven't received the product, but a company did reach out to me and they offered to send me some of their product. And I was thinking, I had seen the product around. Certain creators will promote their product. And I was like, okay, the idea of it didn't seem that appealing or appetizing to me. But I said, sure, if you're going to send them, send me some. That's cool. They reached out to me on Twitter and they offered to send me some. And I said, sure. And then I looked at the price of these products and I about fell on the floor. Like, these products are absurdly expensive. And I don't know how anybody could justify the price. And there's a lot of things like when I first started this and I first started looking at keto products, I thought keto chow was expensive. I thought the price of keto chow was ridiculous. But as I've come to understand and I've come to rely on their products for certain things, really, it's not that bad. I mean, it's really kind of affordable. If you're making out of one packet, you're going to get 12 chaffles or a pint of ice cream. Where, I mean, even that's another thing where there were so many keto brands kind of coming to the market with ice cream. You had your pick of the litter. And now I think most of them are gone. Like at Walmart, I think Halo Top, but Halo Top isn't a keto brand. They're just like a whatever they're, a high protein brand, so to speak. They had some keto offerings, and it's lower carbohydrate than regular ice cream, but not by enough to justify one, paying the price, and two, the flavor, texture, and consistency weren't really good enough. Might as well just buy, like a pint of whatever ice cream you used to like. But again, we're coming back to, for a while there was like a golden age of keto branded products that are just falling to the wayside. I made a video 2 years ago or whatever, like it might have been 2023, I think it was. I was like, is keto dead? Because the products, like, there's the bread, there's keto bread. Walmart used to carry the Progresso keto tomato soup, and they don't even carry that anymore. I mean, there's little bits and pieces, bits and bobs here that they'll carry, but most of the time, like, it's not as abundant as it used to be. It's not like the gluten free has its own section. Meyer used to have like a low carb kind of section, and then like any at Walmart, they'll have like some of the keto bars and stuff in its own little section, the health food section. But you'll know that it's if it was legitimately mainstream, it would be more along the lines of the keto bars would be next to the Cliff bars. The Cliff bars are in a regular aisle in the grocery store. They're not on the health bar. They're not in the health section. Well, we know they're not health food. And I've kind of even lost track of what I was talking about in the first place. But yeah. Chris says, the real thing here is we have approach is what works for me. I still make the recipes for substitutes for people who want them, but for my personal use, I limit the real stuff to rarely ever. Yeah, and I think that's probably the best for most people. But again, like as a person, like as I was saying before, like there were companies coming out and making great progress. They were making, keto-fied mac and cheese in a box. So you had that. And then there were like high-low chips and high-low cookies and all these things that were a little bit cleaner than everybody else. And yeah, the price was high, but it was something to have. And now it's kind of gotten to the point where that's kind of going away. And now what are you to do? I think I mean, I kind of think it's dangerous to have this conversation because it's like the creators who are promoting the sugar diet as a thing that they're doing because somebody is going to watch probably hundreds of people have watched that video of the sugar diet and seeing this person eating candy and drinking soda and grape juice and apple juice and orange juice, and they're just taking away from that. What they want to take away from that is, well, I found a way to eat what I want and still maybe get the results that I'm looking for. And that's kind of how I felt about keto in the beginning. I was like, well, how can I eat as much meat and eggs and cheese as I want and have some vegetables thrown in and lose weight? I can be full and lose weight. I don't have to feel like I'm starving and lose weight. Sign me up. Let's go. And I didn't understand satiety. I didn't understand the difference between satiety and being stuffed. But I found that out over the course of the last almost 10 years. So, yeah, I think, mileage may vary. Let's see. Rex said he had his 50th school thing school reunion last year. Several people tell me They don't remember me. I told them that is because I wasn't in school too often. Okay. And Cindy says, having the real thing depends on the person and circumstances. For me, nope. For Brian, hell no. Yeah. Someone like Brian, he's a type 1 diabetic, so it doesn't make any sense. Aaron goes, Cindy, hell no. I love it. Everyone loves my smooth jazz. Aaron says Nixon and Rocky were wide awake at 3 a.m. I'm surprised I'm awake. That's crazy. Let's not go crazy here, Travers. He had one of the most iconic voices of all human history. I swear it. James Earl Jones, man. That man's voice was more than iconic. Evelyn says if the keto treats weren't so expensive, I'd keep them around for my kids who get standard American diet. Maybe they'd make better choices, but I don't like those things. That's the thing, is they don't taste as good. Like, for as expensive as they are, they should taste better. They should be more filling. Like, and I feel like if I buy a box of 4 Quest Hero bars, I'm going to eat all 4 in one sitting. If I go and I get some sugar-free pudding or whatever, I'm going to eat the 4 little pudding packs. It's crazy. Bride's Biscuits in the house. So glad to see you. And I'm still an hour behind. This is crazy. Jacqueline, we love you, Jacqueline. She says pork belly and Ramsey scrambled eggs for breakfast. That sounds delicious. I think I'll have some pork belly today and some eggs as well. I think that sounds delicious. All right, we'll have to see what's up. Andy, about coming in. I'll see what the plans stand. Aaron says, I'll be good making a regular cup of coffee. Yeah, I think with 10 kids, you need a cup of coffee per kid. I think that's how, I have a 30-ounce coffee to deal with our 6-year-old. I don't imagine having 10. Now, I don't know. Like, I imagine you've got, they were I don't know what their age range is. I know, the oldest is 17. So hopefully they're helping some with some of the kids. So, the kids start babysitting themselves kind of thing, you know? So Rocky is 2. Nixon is 6 with a tonsillectomy recovery. Oh, my goodness. I remember having my tonsils out. That was a rough time. 2 to 17. Aaron, you're a crazy person. I'm telling you, now, to be fair, I did the kid thing backwards. Okay. So when I got with Chandra, when we started dating, she had been divorced about a year and she had 3 kids. The youngest was about 7. And the oldest was, 13. So they were, 7, 11, and 13, give or take, somewhere in those age ranges. So I started dealing with preteens, teens right off the bat as a stepdad. And they were mean. The 13-year-old would write letters that I would wake up to, we don't want you here. We don't know why you're here. We wish our mom would get rid of you. Why are you here? We don't like you. Talk about some low blows. That's getting punched below the gut. You know what I'm saying? It's just nobody prepares you. There's no stepdad school. There's no, I didn't have any kids of my own, and you're just walking into the meat grinder. And over the years, we've built a good relationship over the years, but you know, but those first couple of years were rough. And then they got older and started to move out, and our relationship got better, and then she had our granddaughter, and our granddaughter was in our house, and I was there basically helping raise this little baby from newborn. I was there the day she was born, and I've been with her just about every day since. So she's about as much of my child as I'm ever going to have. Now we've got, there's some more news coming around the pipeline eventually, but you know, not that didn't just give it away, but whatever. Um, you know, she's almost 7. So I've got a chance to kind of see things come full circle. So when I started being with this family, the youngest was 7, and now the youngest is 7 again. And our oldest is 26, she'll be 27, and 21 is our youngest boy. So, you know, I've kind of come full circle. Now I'm coming back into a preteen who's 7, almost 7. So, oh my goodness, I got some eye boogies. But yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. I'm going to skip through some of these. Skip, 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 skip. Cindy says she put her guest podcast into, or guest interviews into a podcast. You should also do the ones with you and Guinea Pig into a podcast. Amy says, I was a backup singer in a blues and a 70s, 80s, 90s pop cover band. That's interesting to know. Things you never knew about Amy. Right there. Sean said, when I worked third shift, my son was 4. He used to run down the hall and slam into the wall. He would then run the other way into the living room and jump into the couch, send it rocketing to the wall. Oh my goodness. The hours in the band were grueling. Set up at 1, gig at 7 or 8, and then tear down until 3 a.m. Yeah. That's no, yeah. Susan and I met in a small celebrity fan group. Got together for a weekend. I'll always be grateful because my life is awesome. Finally happy at 38 when I met her. Fantastic. I love you both so very much. Let's see. She said the band she was in did the whole Blues Brothers set. That's pretty amazing. So, Amy, have you ever been to the House of Blues? Because I know, or not the House of Blues, the Slippery Noodle. Because I guess whenever Dan Aykroyd's in town, he stops in there. He likes that place. It's downtown Indy. I'm sure you know, but I've been in that bar a few times, but I don't really remember it very much. Because usually by the time we end up there, it's been a long, grueling night, and we've been partying hard in the before times. Evelyn says it's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Yes. Adrian, good morning, friend. How was yesterday's meetup? I hope it went well. I hope you got a chance to go. You and your boys are supposed to go. I thought about going, but it was just not in the cards. Later, Aaron. I know you're not hearing this. It was an hour ago. My goodness, I'm so far behind. Jerry's in the house. Good morning. Yesterday, our BBB&E lice was a blast, hysterical. Live stream, I'm guessing what she's saying. Trying to sort through this because I'm so far behind. Rick's got to go. Have a good one, my friend. Adrian said Kelly Hogan's latest video discusses the potential problems of prolonged insulin suppression. So my question is like, what's considered insulin suppression? So my understanding is there's like an insulin response when you smell food, when you think you're going to eat, even if you're not going to eat. And I'm sure that as you get metabolically more healthy, that will slow down. But I'd imagine that we're still never fully insulin undependent, so to speak. But I imagine like if you are fully carnivore and truly don't cheat and don't go and try the sugar diet and all this stuff, I kind of wonder like what are the symptoms of insulin suppression. That's a whole new word now. I mean, we've been focused on insulin resistance for so long and trying to regain insulin sensitivity for so long that the idea of insulin suppressions almost seems absurd. But I understand it probably is a thing, especially when you're coming to somebody living like a lion diet lifestyle where they're just eating salt, meat, and water. They're not having anything that's necessarily insulin, that causes an insulin response long term. So I'm curious to see more about that. I'll have to watch that video. Jackie said, I'm lucky I've never liked fruit, always wanted veggies and starches. Starches are what macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, French fries, all that stuff has always been like really my downfall. Pizza, all that stuff. Chris said, the carnivore police showed up to arrest me, but I threw some herbs at them and they ran in fear. No, cilantro, it's gonna taste like soap. No. I love it. I love it. Sean says, I don't know. I ate a lot of apples with peanut butter. Same with bananas and peanut butter. Those were healthy snacks. My diabetes numbers got worse. Also eating pasta and other things, though. That's my thing is like, if you were eating like carnivore and then having some peanut butter and apples, how would that impact you? I think it's on top of the pasta. It's on top of the cheesecake. It's on top of the ice cream. It's on top of the macaroni and cheese. It's on top of the pizza. I think, we blame fruit for what all the other foods did. You know what I'm saying? I just think, Dustin just sounded like the romper room lady. Oh man, talk about a weird show. That's a weird show. If you want to go and take a look at that one of these days, go see if you can find an old episode of Romper Room. It's like an acid trip. It's messed up. I'm telling you what. Becky's here. I didn't say hi to you. I don't think I did. I, Becky? Must have missed you. I'm so sorry, Becky, but happy morning. Whatever I'm trying to say. Good morning, Becky. That's what I'm trying to say. Karen says, I miss Gala apples, but it took me a while to figure out that it was fermenting in my gut, resulting in horrible gas. Oh, I talk about poop all day. It's no big deal. And everybody's gonna poop themselves. It's gonna happen. Pooping yourselves is just, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Later, Amy. Have a good one. I know you didn't hear this, but hope you see the replay later, dear. Our microbiome isn't the same as it used to be on PhD. It is better, but some things still impact me badly and occasionally eat them. Yeah. No poop on carnivore. Easy. My body is using the protein. Yeah. Took us a while, but we got around to it. Poop. It's always comes back to poop. Welcome back to this episode of Poop Talk. Oh my goodness gracious. Shelly King is in the house. Good morning, Shelly. I'm so glad to see you. Hope everyone is doing well, she says. Well, I'm doing fantastic. I hope you're doing well, my dear. Yeah, this is basically how I feel about it. It's like basically we're not bomb calorimeters. It's about hormones and chemistry, not calories. And I think there's something to calories. It kind of gives us an idea of gauge, but I don't think it's the end all be all. And the idea that we're just like if you're only eating 2,000 calories, then you should be prioritizing beef, eggs, fat, and not trying to eat 10 pounds of berries or whatever. That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm trying to get through all these comments and get to a more reasonable catch up. There we go. There's Lindy. Good morning, Lindy. And Chris says we feed Mel mostly meat as it is, so I don't think it was much of a difference, but all seems good. Mel's a good pupper dog. She's the best pupper dog. Mean old Chris and Ashby mistreating that pupper dog. They probably spoil her more than I understand, but I just like to give them a little bit of stuff because no matter what, a dog that's well treated will always look at you like they are the worst treated dog in the world. They'll give you those sad eyes like, play with me and feed me, please. They're starving me. They don't love me at all. Yes. Hot coffee, 1,000 degrees. Yeah, the fact that dogs should be eating a protein-based diet. I'm like, when you see like this stuff is like, it's got carrots and it's got all the stuff. Like, do dogs like carrots and sweet potatoes and all these things? Is that a dog's normal diet, or should they just be eating like should they be eating? Because I mean, they are kind of scavengers, so they don't usually get the first choice of a kill or whatever. But you know. So, talking about that, I've been having every day I go in the garage, I have to look straight down because I might step on some maximum carnage that's in my garage. Like just having like blood smears and just half of rodents in my house. Like one was missing and I found its face like a few feet away, and I'm like picking up with these tongs. I've got dedicated animal tongs in my garage now, in case you were wondering about that. So I have to pick up these half of animals, and I'm like, I've never seen a chipmunk entrails before. This is weird. But he's being a good cat. Doing what cats do. Travers is out here with just some Travis is out here just talking about some random stuff. Like, oh, open marriages are fun. Okay, pineapple boy, let's go. I don't know what's happening. Oh my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I hear, yep, unfortunately. I don't know what you're talking about, Jackie, but I love you anyway. Happy birthday to you. So I read his recess. Sorry, the phone was beating me up because it's bigger than I am. That's what I saw. Yeah, I love that. I love that his videos got that many views. I love it. Risa says, I wish Costco sold that healthy noodles. I wish they sold those new egg white noodles. The egg white noodles. I wish they sold those because Shanda really loved those. They're basically just egg whites, but they've got that whatever it is in it that makes them solidified into when you put them into water or whatever. Jackie might make Kelly Hogan's oopsie cake today. Reese, does anyone want any perfect keto mac? I've got most of a case just sitting in my basement. Hey, I'm always down because we like that. That was one of my favorite things that they had when I was when I actually I'm an affiliate with them still, I guess, but when I was really pushing it, I love that. So if you want to send that over to my way, we got it. I'll figure something out. Yeah, look at that. Evelyn for the assist. That's my girl. Yeah, that's my friend. Lenny says, like the perfect keto mac and cheese, but after I started making the two crazy ketos carnivore mac, I obsessed. I still haven't. I've made the chicken kind before. It was okay. I need to make it again and see if I like it better. Jaqueline saying, telling Risa what she could do with it. Bride's Biscuit says there are some low carb and substitute pasta products out there. If you can tolerate things like lentils or chickpeas, you probably make some serviceable mac and cheese. Yeah, yeah, I know. And like the chickpea pasta is more prevalent, easier to find than it was when it first came out. Like I had a coworker bring me a box of it, and I was excited, but it's like still pretty high in carbs. Beer, beer, butter, bacon, and eggs. There we go. Let's see. Evelyn says, I used to love the flavor, or I used to love keto almond flour cookies at Aldi. They went away and came back, not keto. Glad I was in a place of transition away from eating them. Yeah, I used to love like having those in stock was nice because it was nice having something that you like. It was just nice to have something in the house because like I get so angry because I won't have things in the house and I'll want something in the house. And then I usually ended up eating something that the kids have brought home that I shouldn't have. So there's always that problem. I think so. Travers has a point here. Keto leads to carnivore eventually, and I would say in a good amount of people. But it's kind of funny, like when you think about how restrictive keto felt in the beginning and how it feels now. It seems like wide open now, and like carnivore is not so restrictive, but it's like obviously carnivore is kind of the new feeling of keto and how restrictive it may or may not have been. But yeah, I think that a lot of people will transition to carnivore for some because we're always that, well, if this is good, then this has got to be better attitude. And then you can bounce back and forth, really. I mean, realistically, that's what I do anyway. I mean, most of the time I'm beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That's my goal. So realistically, for me, that's basically carnivore without dairy and cheese and stuff like that. But I just I think, I don't know. I like them both. I mean, they both work well. I mean, they're interchangeable for me. And I think, if I could just keep them up, I mean, I've been this way for 9 years. So, I mean, keeping it up, it just makes it sound like I'm not able to ever stay on track. Jerry's asking, do you want more perfect keto mac and cheese? If you have some, I mean, like, if for anybody who doesn't want it, yeah, I mean, it stays in our pantry for a long time. But then there's like times where it's like, it really sounds good? Perfect keto mac and cheese. And sometimes I'll add like sardines into it, and it's so good. Yeah, that's the problem I think that I have when it comes to the seed oils like canola and all that stuff is you can't break away from it. Like you can't get away from it at most grocery stores. Most like Walmart, like our local Walmart that I go to the most, doesn't even have a seed oil free mayonnaise. I don't think they have. I don't. They have like sugar free. Like they have some like low sugar, ketchup and stuff like that. I don't know if they have any seed oil free. There's a couple of seed oil free salad dressings, like salad, like vinaigrettes and stuff. But they don't have a single seed oil free mayo. Now it's easy to make, and we don't. Now the problem is I've made a handful of them for our granddaughter. She only likes Miracle Whip, and I tried kind of finding a Miracle Whip recipe, and she was a trooper. She tried each and every one that I made. She's like, nope, Paul, it's not it. It's not what. It's not it. It's not it. It's not it. And so I mean, she eats it so rarely. We do still get her the Miracle Whip. So I mean, it's just so hard to get her to eat. And yeah, I mean, when you do get rid of it, like your joints do clear up so well. So I mean, they do just everything starts to get better, and also like when you start to lose weight. Wow. Jerry said I had a dream last night that you and Shannon adopted the girl. Oh, I mean, she is here all the time. I mean, she basically, she is here all the time. Well, for that to happen, if we were to adopt her, it would not be happy tears. There'd be some really messed up stuff going on. But we wouldn't let her go to foster care. If anything were to happen, she would come to us for sure. Obviously. Jackie says, I went back on triple B&E and I dropped 6 pounds this week. Apparently, I was inflamed. It's amazing. I love that. Andy said, insulin suppression and insulin resistance, two ends of very long spectrum. Learning new things every day about how your body is supposed to work. That's my whole thing. Is I never quite thought that we should avoid an insulin response at all costs. I never thought that we should never have an insulin response because I think the insulin response is there for a reason. But again, at the same time, we shouldn't have insulin in our body all the time. It is a caustic, damaging hormone, and if it's in your system all the time. So if you're constantly like, I think the worst advice they give people is to have 5, 6, 7 small meals a day and have snacks. I think that's the worst advice we can give people because then you're insulin dumping all the time. Whereas I think if you ate even the standard American diet, 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day within like a 4 to 5 hour window, I think you would be a lot better served just by incorporating intermittent fasting. So I think just being able to get insulin levels lower, and I imagine that not having enough insulin in the body probably produces a set of issues as well. I mean, we are a finely tuned machine that we don't know how to fuel it properly. It's like having a Lamborghini and putting in, regular unleaded into it. Just the regular bottom of the barrel unleaded gasoline. I imagine you've got to probably have a super fuel, the super most top end fuel that goes into a car, and then have some additives to run a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? I just think that that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, even I've done strict carnivore for almost a year, and I did 100-day challenge. I know that for sure. And I went over 100 days, and yeah, I mean, you just poop a lot less. I never not pooped at all, but I still pooped like once a day. maybe every other day, but mostly I still pooped a little bit every day. Jerry says I dropped 8 pounds of inflammation this week. Yeah, but you just had hip replacement surgery, I think. Chris says I get so exhausted with the I'm carnivore, so I'm better than you attitude being thrown at keto people and definitely being thrown at sad folks. Yeah, and I mean, I'm guilty of that in the very beginning when it came to the ketogenic diet. I was like, I'm keto. You need to do keto. If you're not doing keto, then you're just, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you get that way in the beginning because you find something that works and you get so excited about it. So I understand it. And I get frustrated with the idea of like there was a carnivore recipe page that I saw on Facebook earlier this week, and somebody had posted like looked like salmon and steak and something else, and they had like 3 florets of broccoli on the plate, and people were like, "Oh my god, you're on the wrong recipe place. If that's broccoli." And I'm like, really? The goal for all of us should be to get as many people on the right track to health as we can. And that doesn't mean nitpicking the shit out of them, because once you start nitpicking people, they're going to go back to their comfort zone. Their comfort zone is Oreos and whatever, and mac and cheese and corn dogs and whatever, pizza. People are trying desperately to find something better for themselves, and they're desperately trying to find what works best for them, and they're trying to find community. And if they go into a community and all they meet is resistance, and you're not doing this good enough and you're not doing it right, and how dare you come in here and post a picture with broccoli on it, get the fuck out of here. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, for real, like, that just burns me up so bad, because if the goal is to truly help someone, how is that helping anyone? And I even posted, I was like, how does this help anybody? The goal is to keep them here. The goal is to get them doing better. It doesn't have to be all at once. It doesn't have to be all at once. Just because some people were able to rip the Band-Aid off and go full carnivore, and they've done it for 2 years straight, and I'm the better than you carnivore, and I'm working out and I've got these muscles and I'm ripped now. Cool story, bro. You're lucky. It worked for you that way. And not everybody comes from that way. Some of us come from severe food addiction, and we need to slowly feel our way through this. We really do. So that's just it really just grinds me up. It just does. And I'm with Chris here. It's so exhausting and it's infuriating, and being mad all the time is exhausting too. And Chris is right on the right on the head of the nose, whatever I'm trying to say here. We're all a big community and we should be working together always. I think so too. Even when if you're trying the sugar diet, cool. You want to go vegan? Cool. You want to do Weight Watchers? Awesome. I'm here to support anything you want to do that you think you need to do to make yourself healthy. That's the goal. I do get frustrated sometimes when people do things, and I'm guilty of it, doing things or doing a challenge or trying something for views or whatever. I'm guilty of that. I've got over 800 videos. You even think I've done that a few times? I'm trying to do YouTube. I don't know everything, and I've evolved. I mean, my shorts are a little kind of like that. I'm always just my shorts are silly kind of, but they're informative, hopefully. And I'm poking the bear with some of them, and hopefully that's a thing that we look at. But I mean, we should be supporting each other. I mean, if somebody's eating broccoli, so what? I don't care if you show me a plate you had steak and chicken and eggs and a little bit of mac and cheese. Who am I to judge you? You have to face the consequences of the mac and cheese, whether that's you're a celiac and it hurts your stomach the next day, or Your gut biome is off and you're pooping your pants the next day, or you're lactose intolerant and that causes issues, whatever. That's not for me to judge you on. If you came to me and go, is this what I should be eating? I will then give you, hopefully, my friendliest advice, or not advice necessarily, my friendliest answer to that question, because we don't give advice here. We give life experience. We give our knowledge. We give what we've found to work for us and what we've seen that work in others. But that's why I love this community, because we are a melting pot of what does and doesn't work. Because some of you are going to come in here and you're going to try the same, and you're going to try things and make the same mistakes that I've made. And that's okay. Because sometimes it doesn't matter if you've seen 14 other people not have success with something. You're going to try it because that's what you need to do. And that's okay. How many diets have we tried before we got to keto, carnivore, proper human diet? I tried so many different things. And it just didn't work. And Bride's Visit says, I feel for many who have severe metabolic dysfunction and multiple autoimmune disorders, the move from keto to carnivore brings additional healing. And I understand that. There's always going to be an additional healing process if you're removing things that are causing you issues. But that doesn't mean that you can't move back than what some of them are alleviated, and you can see, was it really the broccoli causing it, or was it maybe something that I was mixing into the broccoli or whatever? Or maybe I was so inflamed that broccoli was just kind of a, like the whatever it is, a straw that broke the camel's back. Whatever the case is. Then you come back in, well, I'm healthier now, so broccoli doesn't bother me anymore, or whatever. I see keto as a means to an end. I see carnivore that way. I see we're a community. Do I ever see myself not eating some form of keto on the whole of my life? No, I don't see going away from that. Does that mean I'm not going to have the occasional bowl of macaroni and cheese, the real stuff? Probably not. I'm going to have pizza from time to time. I'm going to have things. But my goal here is to maintain my health, lose weight along the way, build a community, help as many people as I can. But I have to be realistic of who I am, what my relationship with food is, what my struggles with relationships with food is. I understand that if I do things outside of what I really should do, it's still going to impact me, but I'm still going to do it sometimes. It's like we've all been through cleansing, and we've all been through to where we feel good, and you eat something bad and you're like, oh, that makes me feel awful. Some people will learn from that and never do it again. I'm not one of those people, unfortunately. There are certain things that I won't eat anymore, but there are certain things that sometimes just the joy that I get out of having it once or twice a year kind of outweighs how bad I feel about it. That's the same thing with like eating keto candy and keto cookies and cakes. I know that it's going to make me gassy and I'm going to fart all night, but do I still eat them? Sure, they're expensive and they give me all night gas. ANG, all night gas. There should be no insults. There really shouldn't be any insults. Like carnivore, I kind of see like people are saying carnivore is the way. It's the way. It's the way. Is it the way to get the most healthy? For a bulk of people, probably it is. Does that mean you have to stay carnivore and only be carnivore and only hang out with carnivores and only talk to carnivores and only watch carnivore content and only think about carnivore and dream carnivore? And then you can't even count sheep anymore. You got to count bulls, only Angus beef, free range, grass fed. Just you know what I mean? Like, where does it end? Where does it end? For some people, they're going to be carnivore for life. Some people are going to get to where they're healed, and then they're going to slowly go back and introduce things. And some people are going to go back and they're going to fall off the wagon, and it's going to take them 2 or 3 times to truly figure out that that's what they need to do. Whether it's a good, clean keto or a dirty keto, we know that people can significantly improve their health eating hot dogs, bologna, and pepperoni, and like these like fried cheese wraps and stuff. Like you just put cheese in the pan and then load it down with pepperoni and then flip it over or whatever. People can get significantly healthier eating just that. Is that going to help them reach all of their goals? Maybe not. Maybe they don't have the same goals as you. Maybe they don't want to lose 300 pounds. Maybe they only get down to where they're just, maybe they can get clothes at Walmart. They don't have to go to Big and Tall anymore. Sadly, I think sometimes we as big people, like being a big fat guy, that becomes your identity, and how you cook food and how you eat food and what you order at restaurants becomes an identity of yours. And that's the case of me. Like I had a buddy of mine one time, we went to Outback Steakhouse and we ordered all this food. He goes, every time I go out to dinner with you, it's like a feast. Like, and then sometimes you go out with a different group of friends and you go get like frozen yogurt or whatever, and then they get their cups and your cup's way bigger than their cup, and then you're sitting there eating your cup thinking that they're judging you for it. And you're thinking, well, I'm such a fat loser because I'm sitting here eating this and they only got a little bit and I got a whole bunch because I couldn't just not get a little bit. And then you're shaming yourself. I've been there. That was me. And it was awful and I hated it. I think some of the Walmarts around here have chosen mayo, and I know Costco has it. But the Walmart that I go to the most often, because it's like I can hop on the interstate. I mean, I can hop on the interstate and off the interstate and get there, or I can drive like through town a bunch and get there to a different one. So I just hop on the interstate one. I mean, they're like realistically 5-minute difference of a drive. So and there's other stuff out that way that I go to sometimes, but that one just doesn't carry any for whatever reason. No chosen foods, doesn't have the Primal Kitchen mayo, unless it's in a different spot. Unless they have a bunch of Primal Kitchen stuff together, I didn't see it. Jerry said, shoot, I asked Carrie Mann's daughter to do one of your recipes, Chris, because she did another recipe like Courtney Luna's. That's cool. Carrie Mann's daughter. I see her channel, or I see her Facebook. I don't know. I think she has a channel too. Evelyn says, when I go to restaurants, I order a bowl of sour cream to use as salad dressing with Redmond salt. It's perfect. Bryce said, Primal Kitchen and Chosen Foods, some solid seed oil free mayonnaise alternatives using avocado oil. Yeah, and I get that, but like I said, the Walmart that I've looked every time I go just to kind of get a gauge of what the stores have. Because I kind of see obviously some of the bigger, closer to the city ones are going to have more things. It's like you expect to go to a place like Fresh Time to have, seed oil free things and sugar free things, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's just like grain free, but not sugar free. So like their marketing's weird. So you got to be careful and read through all that too. And Chris said, I love that, Jerry. I'd love to hear what they think of a recipe. Not sure that's really Carrie's speed, but would be really cool to see them supportive of the community as a whole. Yeah, for sure. Like, just to not be so dogmatic. And I'm not trying to say Carrie's dogmatic, but he's pretty carnivore eccentric. Even suggested that Mann's triplets do a video side by side with the keto twins, crickets. Yeah, I just think they don't want to be seen with like the opposition, so to speak, because there is YouTube. There is this idea that if I do some, my viewership will go down or whatever. So what? Are you trying to get I mean, yes, maximum views does get maximum. You're trying to get in front of as many eyeballs as you can if you're trying to help people. But I think, a lot of people, when a video goes viral, aren't really caring about your recipe unless it's super duper easy. I think being an easy recipe, like a lot of the short video content videos are super easy to do. And I saw one today that looked kind of good that I might try to do with egg life wraps. It might cost me $100 in egg life wraps though, but we'll see how it goes. And Chris says, I think his daughter's a good example of how we need to find what works best for us in our own body and mind. Yeah, 100%. Chris says, I was on his channel and he commented on his daughter eating too much cheese. I started talking women's hormones and why it might be helpful for her. Not sure he knew what to say. Yeah, I think that's the thing is we get into that and we're like, okay, what's good for a man on carnivore diet may not work for a woman. Men and women have different hormone signalings, different hormonal patterns. There's, like that's the thing is like you can't expect a woman to survive only on meat, salt, and that's it. That's why eventually I don't know if she stopped doing it now, but Michaela Peterson or what, she's gotten married now, but I can't think of I don't know what her married name is. It's not relevant here, but Michaela Peterson, I know that she was meat and salt and water to heal herself. Autoimmune issues that had plagued her since childhood. Like yet as a teenager, she had like ankle replacements and joint replacements as a teenager. So she truly needed that healing. And I don't know if she's still doing that. Is that still the life she lives? Because if she's healed to a point, maybe she's tried reintroducing foods, whether or not she had a reaction. I don't know. I haven't really kept up with her too much. There's just so much to keep up with that I can't keep up with everybody. But yeah, I don't know. Jeremiah's in the house. What's up, my buddy? How you doing, brother? Oh my goodness. And Chris says, yeah, compassionate carnivore, a great way to frame that. Yeah, I mean, realistically, we need to be compassionate all the way around, whether you're keto, carnivore, all of us. I mean, we're the proper human diet community. And I think we do a terrible job on the whole, and maybe not so much, but maybe I think the negative seeps through and kind of sticks in your memory a little bit worse. But I wonder, will we get to a place where keto and carnivore and everybody can live and harmonious? Hopefully, because infighting doesn't help anybody; it just sends people away. That's like how many people don't go to Waffle House because they don't get a chair thrown at them. That's just my question. Jack Wellen says, yeah, the carnivore Nazis haven't found their carnivore Zen yet. The thing is like just finding out that bringing new people should be the goal. New people into a community should be the goal, but not how perfectly they're doing the diet or the lifestyle or the protocol or whatever you want to call it. We're all here to feel better about ourselves and make people healthy again. Jerry said, that's funny doing triple B&E myself. And last week when I did not poop, I still lost weight. 8 pounds in 1 week without pooping. Game on. And Chris says, Facebook is horrible for carnivore stuff. They're filled with angry, nasty, egotistical people. Yeah, they really are. They care about elitism and ego and not helping anybody. It's a despicable landscape. And I kind of wonder, how many people are trolls versus real life angry people? And because you got to figure it's probably 50% of the people you may think about arguing with aren't even people. They're just an account that's automated. And Trevor says, when you have good information, you just feel like you can help people. Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes from a good place. I would, you in their mind, they're doing good. Oh my God, they're eating broccoli. They're going to die. Oh my God, they're eating broccoli. Oh, they use onion powder? No, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Chris said, wielding good information like a weapon to bear people up is called being an asshole. 100%. I love you, Chris. Oh my goodness. Later, Risa. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. So, I mean, like, I felt good with triple B&E. When I'm doing strict triple B&E, I feel great. But at a certain point, I start having, I start wanting other things. And I kind of feel that there's like a pressure release valve involved there. Like, do I give in to little things or do I wait till I go off the rails and eat all the things? I just kind of wonder. So I know like for June, we have birthdays and different celebrations. I don't know what we'll do for July, but we'll figure something out. And I know in August we'll go to the fair and I'll want some corn dogs, fresh corn dogs from the fair, even though like you got to go on like $2 Tuesday, otherwise you're paying like $12, $9 for a corn dog. It's like, come on. And Chris said, important concept I've been thinking about. Don't judge someone else. Don't judge someone else's story by the spark notes of your own. That's a thing too, like I think that, what worked for you may not be like, how I handle things isn't going to be how someone else is successful. And even how I'm doing things that I think are working for me now or have worked for me in the past may not continue to work for me. I have to change things up. And Shelley says, I've recently started supporting the smaller channels because of this. I feel like you absolutely hit it, Dustin. Food addiction is always there for me. I'm afraid to post my food sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I can't go around and post like the pictures from Friday night where we had sushi because we were like, no, that's not keto or carnivore or triple B&E, or the pizza we had Thursday night. But I knew we were going to do stuff like that. I knew the birthdays are going to bring things. And then there was, Chandra's friend is going through a big life change. And there's a lot of that. And I know that, food is comfort. Whether we like it or not, food is comfort. Food is entertainment. We like to think that we're better than that. And most of the time we are. I mean, it's like, oh, I was stuck in traffic for an hour, so I'm going to go get McDonald's. That's probably not the best thing to do. But like, somebody, like you're going through big life things or things really hit you. You're going through a death in the family, so you have some pasta or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think about my grandmother and I think about her apple pie. It makes me want apple pie. My great grandmother used to make me a chocolate eclair cake, a giant chocolate eclair cake. Like, we're talking big for me as like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old when I was younger. Every year for my birthday, she'd make me one. Like the graham crackers and the pudding and the graham crackers and the pudding and all that, and then the hot chocolate icing on top. My favorite cake. I don't have it. Like last year, our daughter made it. She was like, oh, I found the recipe. I'm going to make it. And I'm like, it wasn't for a birthday. It wasn't for a celebration. She just made it for a random day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're trying to kill me. Like, because I would eat just bowl after bowl. Like I had to throw half of it away just because like if it stayed in the fridge, I would continue to eat it. And I appreciate that her trying to do that. But, Jackie says, I'm a stubborn hobbit. So I ate super clean for a year and fell off the rails because, well, he's eating it, so I should be able to. And we get that. And we get that mentality because it's not fair. It's not fair that I can't eat what I want. And you see people eating whatever they want. And you see people going to fast food restaurants and all that stuff. And you're like, well, why can't I do that? That's why I think like, I don't necessarily think we were designed to eat perfectly clean all the time. I just don't think. I mean, maybe most of us probably should, but I don't think we evolved eating perfectly exactly the way we should. We only really ate what we had. And you got to figure people lived in different places. So I don't know. And I can't even pretend to know. And Travers says, broccoli is very good for the liver, helps when losing weight, and liver suddenly has to deal with the toxins of being released from all your stored fat. I love broccoli. I didn't like broccoli until I went keto and realized that you can make broccoli with a lot of butter and like salt and garlic, and it's delicious. It wasn't just boiled in water and then just still crunchy, and you can still taste the nasty taste that it has. You know what I mean? Sean says, I've been telling family members that if you don't feel they can do keto, just do whole foods. They will be 10 times better than that they are now. Just cut out the processed crap and we'll see. Yeah, I think that's a good, you got to start somewhere. Every journey starts with a single step. Or you can maybe hop into it or whatever you want to do. You can skip, whatever you want. Jerry said, Dustin, you're right. During this month's challenge, I will post my food for dinner, my husband's food for dinner, and so be it. Somebody doesn't like it. Oh, well. Yeah. Showing what's real is important, I think. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you. Let's hit that like button. Chris says, people are desperate for help. They need help and support and kindness. They're struggling and fighting, and we're not going to kindly do that. We should shut the hell up. I love you, Chris, because you're saying exactly what needs to be said, and it's true. If we can't be, if we can't be nice, then shut the hell up. If Cindy's here, shut the hell up. I just see it as like, why go into helping people if you don't actually want to help them? And I understand that you think in some twisted kind of manner you're helping them by shaming them into not eating broccoli, or you had a cookie? No, or whatever it is. We're imperfect. None of us are perfect. None of us have it all figured out. We're all just kind of blindly feeling our way through this life. Some of us are luckier than others and have people help guiding us along the way. But us guiding us along the way, let's see. Okay. I saw on my phone there was like a hidden message. I had to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, we just need to be helping each other. And if somebody has 3 pieces of broccoli on their plate and then a whole bunch of meat, and it's not like a small, teeny tiny little 4-ounce piece of meat and then like mashed potatoes, broccoli, macaroni and cheese, and all that, so what? They're not doing it the way you would do it, but they're not you. Yeah, and Karen said their Walmart stopped carrying, probably because it was expensive. Like that's the thing, is like when you look at like the Primal Kitchen mayo and the Chosen Food mayo, it's like a tiny little jar that's like $3 of Miracle Whip is worth like $11 or $12 in Chosen Foods. It's not practical for most people when you can go to Walmart. I mean, not Walmart. You can go to Costco and get like a 32-ounce jar for like $9.99. Now, I know not everybody has a Costco membership, but I mean, I post things about stuff at Costco. If you live in my area and you want to go to Costco, let's go. I've gone to Costco with Andy and Susan, and I've been to Costco with Evelyn and Carl. We've all been to Costco together. But Costco's a little weird. You got to like, everybody's got to like pay in cash or whatever. Like you go through with one card and buy one order, and then everybody just gives you cash or Venmo or whatever, right? Scott Elliott's in the house. Good morning from Colorado. Thank you for being here, Scott. I appreciate that very much. Helping 100 people for real is better than helping 10,000 for fake. That's some profound stuff you got there, Chris, and I agree. I couldn't agree with it. You're like, helping one person truly and wholeheartedly is going to make a difference in the world. I think, being a dick to a few people is worse, because every time you're not good, you're not nice, and you're not accepting of somebody, that's the more likely they are to go off and do things that are not good for them. They're going to go back. Well, that community was a bunch of dickbags, so why would I stick around? It's like in high school, you didn't. I mean, you might have wanted to hang out with the popular kids, but they were jerky to you enough. You left and went and hung out with somebody else. Travis says the best video on carnivore are Kent carnivore. You'll understand why. I'll have to look that up later. Bacon Baby's in the house. Good morning, Bacon Baby. Yeah, Evelyn says Michaela hasn't been doing anything much on YouTube in the last 2 to 3 months. Yeah, babies change your life and priorities, and I'm sure she's still on like podcasts and stuff here and there. I don't know. I don't really know much about what's going on with her life. I know she had a kid, but yeah. Cindy has to go. Have a great day. Chris says, that's why I don't even bother arguing. I don't even go into the Facebook groups and waste of time. But sometimes they just pop up and it'll show me, and then it'll show me like the first couple of comments, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, just go in, leave a little comment. Like, why are you being this way? How does this help anybody? And then I roll out. And I send a text to you and Victor. I'm like, did you see it? I vent to Chris and Victor more than I vent to most people. I send them some of the weirdest stuff too, so they're probably tired of me by now. Carnivore don't fight with keto people from my experience. All carnivores were keto at one point. Well, I mean, so it's not necessarily that they fight with keto people. I think they like to infight with other carnivores. They like to fight amongst themselves on what's true carnivore. If they're eating you're using pepper. Oh, does that onions in your meat? Oh my goodness, how dare you use onion? Onions aren't carnivore. Okay, cool story, bro. It doesn't necessarily make it keto either. But I mean, all things under the proper human diet are basically keto because you're in ketosis most of the time. So there's that. Jackie says, Jaqueline says, they'll never take my onion, garlic, or pepper. I stopped using pepper because it makes me sneeze. And I know that's the old trope, but like it just made like I would just sneeze more often when I was eating pepper, even after I'd eaten it already. So I just stopped using pepper and I don't really miss it much. I'll use some crushed red pepper flakes sometimes, but just black pepper, I don't miss it too much. Over my dead carnivore body, cold carnivore body. You know that carnivores live forever. Forever, forever. Scott said, I had a piece of crappy Domino's at a birthday party last night. Like, that's the thing is like, we got the Domino's pizza because I have a history with Papa John's. Not to get into that, but some of you know the story. But and that's typically what Chandra's friend would order is Papa John's, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to be here right now, Domino's had like up until like yesterday or whatever, they had a Domino's had a Domino's had a buy like a 2-topping large for $6.99, and we got 3 of those. So yeah, I mean, it was just cheaper. So there's that. And electrolytes are gone, man. Evelyn said, I keto-fied my grandmother's Pennsylvania Dutch pumpkin pie. That's awesome. I need somebody out there in the wild there to keto-fi some Bienenstich and make it compelling. Jaqueline said, I had sushi. Let's see. If sushi is the worst thing you had to ever cheat with, I think that's pretty good. 2 ounces of rice has got to be better than a cupcake of candy. Yeah, I mean, I love sushi, and we're never going to not have sushi. Sushi is a part of our life. We really enjoy it, but we don't eat it all that often. One, it's kind of expensive because when we go, we take the whole family usually, and it's like a couple $100. So that's kind of cost prohibitive, and it's delicious. And I don't think it's all that bad. I mean, I don't really think we don't eat a lot of the ones with like cream cheese in it and all that stuff. We like more traditional sushi, but it is what it is. Yeah, this is the comment that got hell up for review. Shut the hell up. cheddar. Let's see. Broccoli cookies, probably not a good marketing plan, though. Yeah. Jaheel. Hello, Jaheel. Welcome, welcome, my good friend. Jaheel's my friend. I send him weird stuff, too. So be careful when you become friends with me, because I'll send you weird stuff you probably don't want. It's fine. Jaquella said, I'm definitely not perfect. Going to Texas Roadhouse tonight, having prime rib, shrimp, maybe a brownie or a piece of cheesecake, then back to loose triple B&E, adding chicken and zero sugar Pepsi with meal. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Jaheel, I typed how everyone instead of hi, but that's my choice. That's a choice. And Jackie said, this is also my fourth round of triple B&E, so I'm taking liberties. Like, but for me, triple B&E really isn't a challenge for me. It's how I feel my best. So for me, when I start this, it's more like, okay, it's just a lifestyle reset. Like, it's not me going, well, can I go 30 days and be perfect? It's going to be like, can I do this 95% of the time and live a more consistent lifestyle and maybe hit some more of the goals that I want to hit? And, I want to wear smaller clothes. I want to, there's a lot of things that I want to do, but food is a part of my life. Food is a part of all of our lives. We can't go without it permanently until, the end. I just think we've got to pick our battles. We have to understand who we are. Not all of us are going to, not all of us are going to be the same as everybody else, and that's fine. Things that you are going to be better at, things that you can do more sustainably than me, that's fine. It's just, that's just how it is, ladies and gentlemen. And Travers is right. He said, if you save one life, you save the world entirely, unless, well, I don't believe that. I don't even know what's going on with Palestine. That whole thing, that's a thing that's outside of my wheelhouse, and I don't care. Not that I don't care. I don't have an opinion because in this instance, my opinion would be so uneducated that it wouldn't matter. How's Timmy, Jaheel? Rebecca is in the house. Good morning, Rebecca. Everybody say hi to Rebecca. She's my friend. That's my Rebecca friend. And Jerry says, sugars are running good up in the ranks of... Wait, the sugars are running good up in the ranks of hate these days. I don't know what that means. Let's see. The sugar are climbing up the ranks of hate soon to pass the carny. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Question. Rebecca has a question. I've been keto carnivore since January. Is it normal to still get up multiple times a night to go pee? I'm 47, no chronic illnesses. I still get up multiple times a night to pee, so I don't know how normal that is, but I'm a guy and I don't know what's going on. Like, I would imagine that it's probably, I've heard that there's like two major causes for that. There's like a sleep apnea issue. So if you have sleep apnea, that can cause that to happen, as well as low magnesium. So having your magnesium levels where they should be and controlling your sleep apnea are one of the things that can help you with having to get up all the time to pee. I have a CPAP, but I haven't used it in a while. I just kind of stopped using it. It's very annoying, and I used it for years, but I probably should continue to use it, but it just doesn't work the way it used to. So I probably need to get another one or find out something else. I just don't know, but and I probably don't. I drink a lot of electrolytes, and I was taking a magnesium supplement more often, but I space it. I forget. So I need to start doing that again. Jerry says, when I'm doing a colonoscopy, I do not eat for 3 days and only drink half of that pharmacy gallon they give you. Yeah, that's just a nightmare. That's nightmare juice. Nightmare juice. What comes out of you is haunted and evil. It's like, no. Stacy, my good friend Stacy, she says, I do Stacy keto as that is what works for me. That is why Women's World magazine featured me. We must each do what works for each of us. Stacy keto is easy peasy keto. That's wisest words anybody has spoken today. Stacy, my good friend Stacy. She's the best. Jack is replying to Carl saying, why I usually get the prime rib. I'm also spoiled with Doug's steak. So unless it's like a 5-star restaurant, I don't bother with a steak out anymore. I'm not a big fan of prime rib. Like I had it once. I mean, I've had it before. It always just kind of tastes like ham. Doesn't taste like a good piece of beef. I'd rather have like a nice ribeye or something, like a nice thick sirloin or something like that out. Bienenstich. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can look it up, and I'll put a link in here. This is what it is, everybody. Here, let me see if I can bring this up here. Yeah, put the link in the chat here. Just give me a second here. This is what it is. I've had it because when we go to Wisconsin, there was a place that my sister-in-law would get it, and it was so good. Bride's Vision says, "Isn't sushi part of a predominantly fish or a diet? Sushi part of a predominant diet in some Eastern cultures that have some of the best health outcomes in the world." Yeah, but it's fish. It's like we get stuff that has like eel in it and different kinds of fish, tuna, salmon. The imitation crab is really kind of what makes it bad. But I love imitation crab, and I'm not ashamed of it. I love imitation crab. It's one of my favorite foods of all time. It tastes so good and it's so bad. Probably why, but I mean, it's basically fish parts held together with like starch, but it's so delicious. I don't care. I'll even you can get it at Sam's Club sometimes. You can get imitation crab, but it's like 6 or 9 grams of carbs per serving, and I'll still get some of that and eat that. Oh, it's so yummy. I know it's so bad, but it's a weakness. Jackie says, "I only like sushi with cream cheese, so that means we can get we can be sushi friends." Yeah, you can eat all the sushi with cream cheese, and I'll eat all the sushi without cream cheese. I don't like cream cheese in my sushi. I just don't. It just doesn't. It's not a good texture to me. Timmy is climbing a mountain right now, trying to find himself. He is still 5 years old. Some people might say I'm an irresponsible parent, but I trust my child, and only God can judge me. Oh my goodness, I love you, Jahil. You're the funniest. Rebecca says, I do sometimes drink electrolytes. Maybe try upping your magnesium, drink, maybe getting a complex magnesium supplement, maybe perhaps. See how that might help you. It's the circle of life. Yeah, Jackie said that I know I could do 210 days perfect. So yeah, I lost the challenge aspect for me. Yeah. Reminder, carnivore is keto, but keto is not necessarily carnivore. Ev and I want to start a channel called Keto Police. We'll issue tickets to anyone that breaks the rules. Remind me, I have something to send to you, Evelyn and Carl. Text me and I'll send it to you. Just remind me after the chat. Jahil says, I have to get up and pee a ton unless I sleep on my back. If I sleep on my side, it's like 4 times. If I sleep on my back, it's like once. Makes no sense, but it's the truth. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm just tired. Like I get up and pee like every 2 to 3 hours. Is that just part of getting older? Maybe, but I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Politics, because politics divides us and we're trying to be together. And I know that politics are important outside of this and, all that stuff, but I just don't, I don't have time for all of it because I just don't. And I don't have the mental space for it. And what I mean, it's just, this is how it is. And it doesn't belong in this chat. It doesn't belong on this channel because that's not what this channel is about. Because if we start dividing ourselves and subdividing ourselves, we're already trying to divide ourselves between carnivore and keto and clean keto, and that's not perfect. And we can't keep dividing ourselves and down to a nub. We really can't. And Lindy says, Rebecca, I have been keto carnivore for 8+ years and still get up to pee. I just wish I could sleep all night without having to get up and pee. Limit fluid intake before bed. If I drink something before bed, I get up a few times. If I don't have anything to drink an hour before bed, then I wake up at about 6 hours. Jahil says, it's true, Jerry. God wants my very real child, Timmy, to go climb mountains. And then who am I to say no? You have little hands that are always oily from eating pork rinds. Oh my goodness. I have to trust the process. Amy just got out of church and we're still live. That's right. We're here for 3 hours and 7 minutes today. We love it. We'll talk for a little bit longer. I have this live linked over to Coach Bronson and Coach Nat. So as soon as we're done, head over and give them some support. They go live every Sunday at 10:45 a.m. So just a couple of minutes from now. You know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Here we go. All right. I got your text. I will send it to you in a little bit, Evelyn. You'll just have to wait, my dear. Evelyn, that makes sense. I figured I was squeezing something. Yeah. Man. Just Jason Keto's in the house. Good morning, my friend. And Scott says, I'm sticking with keto, but I'm a follower of the carnivore community. Realistically, keto is, you can be carnivore on a day you don't have any vegetables or whatever. I mean, they're really interchangeable to me. For me, I think they're very much interchangeable. And I don't really think, we should, it's just one of those things. Well, I'm sorry about that, dear. Andy's lost internet in her house. Bacon Baby says, ChatGPT made me a keto version recipe of bean and stick kitchen, loads of butter, almonds, eggs, heavy cream. I'm sure that there's a way. But like, to me, bean and stick is one of those things that I can't get very often. So I'm not so opposed to having the real thing. Not to say that I wouldn't indulge in a keto-fied version or whatever, but still. All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to the end of this. We're right here. Julie in the Pines is here just in time. Good morning, Dustin. Who else is shocked that the first week of June is already over? This year is speeding by. I'm saying because the first week of June is the first week of summer vacation for our granddaughter, and we've already been through that. And 7 more weeks to go with her on summer vacation. Then we're back and we're in the first grade, and you know how it's all going to go. And Caleb's Carnivore Quest is in the house. Good morning. Been a while since I've made it to a live stream. Well, I'm glad you're here, my friend. He's in Washington right now. Fantastic. I'm so glad to see you. I hope you're doing well. But with that, I think it is time to say goodbye this morning. Again, head on over to visit Coach Bronson and Nat. They are going live here in just a couple of minutes. So I will go ahead and end this stream. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all so very much for joining me today, keeping me company, keeping me on track, making this community as strong as it is, and hopefully stronger every day. And, I didn't get to almost anything that I wanted to talk about today, and we talked about so much other stuff. But, we've got challenges, birthdays, memes flying around. We didn't even touch on the sugar diet and the Ozempic and the making your wiener bigger, but the core remains. We want to live well, whether it's through BBB&E, community support, or just asking honest questions. But this is how we stay in it. Thanks for being here. I love each and every one of you. And with that, here are the credits. I love you all.